Good morning and welcome to the latest daily Elite FPL call-in. Thank you ever so much for joining myself this, in the UK, specifically in London where I live, it is absolutely pouring down rain. It's been pouring down since 4 o'clock this morning. It's still bloody boiling hot though. The heat I just cannot stand. It drives me up the wall, and I am probably going to put the fan on to Jason's annoyance, but I'm sorry, but I'm sweating like a pig here. But no, I think this is day 6. I'm pretty certain this is day 6 in a row of doing a live solo stream, or an Elite FPL stream anyway. And it has been the odd day where I've been able to do it with Jason. And like I said, I was planning on doing this later this evening, but due to the fact that I'm now going out, I'm doing it now. And to be honest with you, I think doing it at this time of the day, we get to interact with a different range of people. We cover the world basically, and I'm fully aware that there are a lot of European fans out there, people from Australia, New Zealand, that love coming on the show, watching the show. In fact, I want to share this specific tweet that FPL Booner specifically alerted me to 10 seconds ago, but of course I don't have it with me. Well, I do, but I can't bring it up, and because I don't have the login details for our Twitter, don't ask. But basically FPL Booner shared a tweet from an Twitter account called FPL House, and he says he's been following our streaming with Elite FPL every single morning, and basically such a great topic discussing all things basically fantasy football. Keep up the good work, would love to join in. So as I mentioned to him on the Twitter, you can come in whenever you want, and all you need to do is get on the Discord group. The link is in the description, and all you've got to do is get into the Discord, and you can come live on air by just going into the waiting room. We do have people here to help you out in the Discord if you're completely brand new to it. FPL Booner and Daily Llama, to name but two of our moderators. And there are various other people that are willing to help you to come live on air if you wish to. So yes, I put out a tweet earlier. I also put in the Discord group about topic discussions for today's show. And yeah, some really, really interesting ones to cover, really. And I'll be asking everybody that comes live on air their thoughts on these specific topics. Now, I did put out a tweet this morning. It was a poll. Go over to @EliteFPL and get your vote in for this specific question, which is Dani Ceballos an option at 5.5? If you're unaware, Dani Ceballos has joined Arsenal on loan. And yeah, he's coming at 5.5. Myself and FPL Booner were thinking that he'd probably come in at about 7, mainly because he's playing for Arsenal. And my goodness, he's coming at 5.5. And as I state, with a lot of things that I do with a lot of players, I go on to a couple of websites, specifically Football365 and WhoScored.com. I basically look over their stats. I read about what Football365 has to say about these particular players that come into the Premier League, and I respect their opinion. And it sounds like this Ceballos could be what Arsenal need to link that midfield with the attack. They compared him to... Well, they didn't compare him to, they just said that he could be the solution for the role Aaron Ramsey has made vacant. And they also said that this particular player could evolve into the next Cesc Fabregas or David Silva. So your thoughts on that? But yeah, is he an option at 5.5? For me personally, it's a wait and see. I think that if, for example, in the first couple of games, he gets a minimum of 1 attack in return, whether that's a goal or an assist. And now, admittedly, I'm unable to watch football, so I don't really have the eye test for these particular players. But what I do is I read a lot of, like I've already just mentioned, I read a lot of articles And if, for example, the Arsenals were to say this Cabellos looks like the real deal, he looks exactly what Arsenal need, then I think that I'd get him in. 5.5. I think that's ludicrous for a premium team. Something Notorious Nerd, topic-wise, has brought up, and we'll come to that in a minute. But yeah, a very cheap option for a premium team. Other topic matters to cover, which I'd like to discuss, was a lot of people complaining about Bournemouth last night. They had a friendly away at West Bromwich Albion again. I don't know anything about it other than I just checked out quickly what the lineups were. Simply put, barring the front three of Fraser, Wilson and King, the rest of the team I've never even heard of. So, to be honest with you, a 0-0 versus West Brom doesn't really surprise me. People worried about the front three. Are they really worth it now after that 0-0? I wouldn't worry about it. Looking at the rest of the squad there, I wouldn't worry about that particular result at all. Had another interesting one, where it appears that Wolves are in the market or are going to be signing AC Milan's Coutron. Now, I'm not going to pretend to be a European expert, an Italian football expert in this particular case, so I just quickly did the old digging around, see what he did last season, and I just rolled my eyes and just thought, I don't know what to say. So, he's 21. He made 12 starts and featured as a substitute on 22 occasions. He scored 3 goals and got 2 assists. To put that into context, so AC Milan ended up finishing 5th. They only scored last season 55 goals. Now, again, to put that into perspective, now whatever your thoughts are on AC Milan, I'm not here to talk about AC Milan per se. I'm just going on exactly the real data, and this is what I do with fantasy football, interestingly enough. I go on real data. I'm not interested in everything else. I just want to know how many goals this particular player or team has scored, and that's all I care about. In this particular case, AC Milan, like I said, scored 55. The teams around them, so just below them was Roma, they scored 66. Torino in 7th scored 52. The teams above them, so Inter Milan, they scored 57, and then the top 3, Atalanta 77, Napoli 74, and champions Juventus got 70. So AC Milan didn't score that many goals, although, looking at the league table in front of me, it doesn't look like there are many goals scored in the Serie A division, unless you are in that top 7-ish bracket, maybe at a push going all the way down to Sampdoria in 9th, who scored 60, but below that, I mean, barely anybody scored, although a bit of an anomaly here. So, Empoli, who were relegated, that's quite an incredible, looking at this now, that's quite extraordinary. Empoli scored 51 goals and conceded 70, and they were relegated due to goal difference by 1 goal. Wow. And the team that just survived, Genoa, they only scored 39. That's amazing. Anyway, to give you more context on AC Milan, so their front 3 consisted of Suso. Wow, what a player he looks, based on his returns last season. Wow. So their main formation is a 4-3-3, with their attack of Suso, Piatek, and Calhanoglu. I know I've butchered his name. But yeah, Suso was the main star of the show for AC Milan last year, making 35 starts, getting 7 goals and 10 assists. Piatek up front, he only made 11 starts and 2 sub-appearances, but scored 9 goals, interestingly. And then this Calhanoglu, he started 34 times, 2 sub-appearances, only scored 3 goals and got 6 assists. So going full circle regarding this Coutron, Cutrone, however you want to pronounce it, I don't think it's a worry. I think that it seems to be like he's going to play a bit part role like he did at AC Milan. At the end of the day, he's 21 for crying out loud. You know, he's not a 31-year-old seasoned international where he's got hundreds of goals or whatever with vast experience. He's a 21-year-old kid at the end of the day. And I don't think he's going to have that much of effect on Jimenez and Jota. Talking of which, there was a question Ryan sent in about, are we worried about Jota's rotation? The simple answer is no. Like I said, I think one of the biggest key tips that you could have if you're playing fantasy football is to make sure that the players that you have are guaranteed starters or key to their teams. And I just think that Jota is one of those key players, and I think the only time he's going to get rested is if Wolves progress a lot further in the Europa League or possibly the FA Cup. You know, we're talking the very, very late stages here, so I wouldn't be panicking about Jota being a possible rotation. Oh, by the way, I'm hoping the sound is okay, because yesterday this is going to sound really weird, but I like doing research on my own streams. I want to see what I've done right, see what I've done wrong, and then for the next stream I correct myself and everything. And one of the things that really, really annoyed me was the sound was just terrible from my end. It was very, very quiet, and I think it's because I had deliberately put the volume on my microphone really quite low down. So I've actually turned it quite high up. As you can tell, the microphone isn't directly in my face. It's actually just to my right over here. So yeah, I apologise for yesterday's potential quietness. Seems to have gone down well though, so can only appreciate. By the way, I do want to say that the support for these early morning shows is fantastic, and I really do appreciate everybody joining in from wherever you are in the world. Let me know where you are in the world. That'll be interesting to know. Especially is the fact that in Europe, obviously, Europeans, you're 2, maybe 3 hours at a push ahead of us. Obviously, the guys in right across the world in Australia, New Zealand. We had someone from Thailand yesterday. You're 9-10 hours ahead of us, and that's all convenient for you because you're now watching in the evening. Yesterday I had Aussie Boy, FPL Aussie Boy. You all recognise him in the Discord. He kindly co-hosted with me for the first half an hour, and then we just had FPL Booner and Statman, aka Kevin. They were both basically co-hosting with me, and thank you very much for joining in. And I really enjoyed yesterday's show. I thought it went really, really well. There was a lot of really interesting discussion points brought up and everything. But yeah, let's go and find out who's in the chat, what people want to talk about. Well, obviously we're here for talking fantasy football. That's the main protocol here. You've heard my thoughts. Nasty Balls, welcome to the stream, my friend. Notorious Nerd, I've already mentioned you there. Welcome to the team. I will get on to your point actually. So a couple of points that Notorious Nerd has brought up. So Dean Henderson has officially signed for Sheffield United on loan. He signed for Man United. I think it was a 4 or 5 year contract, but he was sent back on loan to Sheffield United. But as we know, their fixtures are shambolic, so I'm avoiding Henderson like the plague. He also, Notorious Nerd, we talked about it yesterday, Everton, a team creating division amongst FPL managers, and yeah, since this news about Idris Gueye, however you want to pronounce it, is leaving, people are concerned about the fact that their defence isn't going to be as good. It's the same as Zuma. Just still no talk about him potentially coming to Everton. There's not long left of this transfer window. So, yeah, maybe Everton are a team to potentially look at, see how the first few games go and just kind of avoid it for the time being. I think that, let's think logically here. I think you're better off investing in, as I keep saying, teams that you know are already defensively sound. And if you do want to go down that budget route, you know, you're talking teams like Burnley. Depending on how we start, for anybody new that's listening, I'm a Burnley fan. For anybody, for how we start. So usually what happens with Burnley for the last 3-4 seasons in the Premier League, no, so this will be the fourth, so the last 3 seasons, what happens is we either start really well, that's when you want to jump on us, and then we just end really badly, or we start really badly and then end really well. It's just a case of how do we figure it out? Well, you'll figure it out by the result on game week 1 versus Southampton. Basically, if we lose to Southampton, which I don't see us doing, I think that's got 1-1 written all over it, but if we lose to Southampton, you know we're in for a bad first half of the season. But yeah, I think investing in solid defensive options. I mean, the main ones are obviously Liverpool and Man City, because we all know what they're capable of doing. So Clement Rue, good morning to you. FPL Boone already mentioned there. Good morning, good morning, good morning. As a fellow customer used to say, Dale Bellamy would appreciate this this quick impression. Morning, morning, morning. Hopefully Dale's watching live or watching this on the replay. That's a private joke, obviously, everybody. Ishmael Miatt, well done. Well done. Welcome to the stream. Cameron Rawcliffe, a.k.a. FPL Kid, welcome. Theo Athens, welcome to the stream. DK Flair, no, Andy Beck, morning. Jason Costa, welcome to the stream. FPL Oz, good morning. Lots of people getting involved at the moment. Like I say, I'm fully aware this is an early morning stream, but whatever. Geordie Kev, good morning. Statman there. And Joe Lancaster, you're finally on the chat. If you want to elaborate on what exactly you specifically mean by you're finally on the chat, I'm assuming that you've never been able to join in live. Paul fans, good morning there. Talking about my team there. No robber or TOA, don't worry about my team. In the words of Jason. The team up on screen is to create discussion, and it's not the team that I'm going to be specifically choosing for game week 1. The way Jason actually answered that YouTuber's comments point, I died. That was just so funny. Oh, in fact, there he is. Jason is live there right this second in the chat. Joey21, good morning there. Yeah, Joey basically saying, don't worry about Coutron. Yeah, I agree. Gian Paolo, welcome to the stream there. Big risk to put DK saying, big risk to put Cabellos immediately, considering he will likely need time to bed in. Well, based on the way people are banging on about this Cabellos, I think that he may not need time to bed in. I think that he could be a talent, which, you know, he's that good that the thing will, the quality of him will just shine through, basically. Gavin Gould saying that he's going to keep a good eye on Loftus-Cheek and Hudson-Odoi when they are available. Well, they're not going to be available for quite a while. I think Hudson-Odoi, I think Dereco mentioned this point. Dereco, a regular contributor to the stream, he made a point that Hudson-Odoi doesn't look like he's going to be available till September, maybe even October at the latest. And then, of course, Loftus-Cheek, I believe that Loftus-Cheek isn't going to be back till what? December time, something like that, maybe. I think those two, unfortunately, aren't going to be back for a very, very long time. Sorry, it's the classic thing of you may be wondering what the hell I'm doing. I'm trying to move the fan closer, and I have no idea why the CPU is going absolutely mental. Because for the last 20 minutes, it was at about 50%. Now it's in the high 70s. It's ridiculous. Hopefully, this isn't affecting the stream though. Please let me know in chat, the usual classic line from a lot of live streamers. if it is affecting the chat, then I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to call at the end to this specific stream. And yeah, everything's running really, really slow. Oh, there we are, back to normal. It's amazing how just a bit of air, cools down everything, and everything seems to run back to absolute normal again. So let's find out. Jason's saying that he's been up since 4 o'clock in the morning because he basically his daughter isn't sleeping that well due to the heat. And yeah, I mean, last night was, I know this is a fantasy football show, but last night was I mean, I went to bed at 6, 7 o'clock, and my bed was just soaked in sweat. It was absolutely mad. So yeah, not particularly pleasant. Ryan0605, welcome to the stream. Cy Bellamy there in the stream, and JP Goss, welcome everybody. Like I said, welcome to this early morning stream. Thank you for joining me live. Let's see if we have any callers live in the waiting room, and yes we do. And I'm going to deliberately go to Gian Paolo first because he's been waiting to come on live with me for quite a while, I know that much. So Gian Paolo, make sure that this stream is muted, make sure that you've got your mic unmuted, and we will bring you live on air right now. So Gian Paolo, welcome to Elite FPL. Call in. Good morning, Gian Paolo.
Good morning, Steve-O.
Could you make sure that the stream is turned down, please, because we're getting a lot of feedback. So I'll take you off air for a second. Please, can you make sure, so anybody that's joining us live on air, please make sure that the stream is muted, turned off, whatever, because like just now, we get a lot of feedback, and it's very, very frustrating. So Gian Paolo, we'll bring you back on. Gian.
Morning, Steve. Are you there?
Much better, much better. Good morning. How are you?
All right. It's a weekend. We can concentrate more on fantasy football.
Although for me, I've been concentrating on fantasy football for the last 6 days, but.
At least I don't have to feel guilty that I should be doing some work.
Yes. Yeah, I've been keeping a lot of people either company at work, on their drive-in, or during their breakfast. So, Gian, the stage is yours. What do you want? I mean, straight away, what I'll ask you is, what are your thoughts on? I don't even know if I mentioned this or not. Just to mention to everybody that, what are your thoughts? So, Ryan, a regular contributor to the show, Ryan asked what you see the effects of VAR being on the attacking assets this season. I'll ask you straight away, Gian Paolo, what do you think of VAR this season?
Well, obviously, there have been some reports saying certain incidents with Liverpool last season, Salah wouldn't have got penalties or certain goals. So many people are expecting VAR to have a bigger impact, more goals, more penalties. Someone's gone dive in a box.
Oh, you're breaking up there, Gian, I think. Unfortunately, Gian, you're breaking up bad. I don't know if it's my end or it's your end. I can't actually make out. Apologies to everybody there, because Gian seemed to have some very, very interesting points that he was bringing up about VAR. We'll try and get Gian back on the show in a minute, because I want to speak to Gian. It could potentially be my end, if I'm honest with you, because, again, I have no idea why the CPU is running at such a high rate at the moment. I'm sure Jason's screaming at the screen, because you're running so many programs, you idiot. But Yeah. What are your thoughts, everybody in chat, regarding will VAR help or hinder next season? I know this is a discussion point that has been brought up 30,000 times, but the closer we get to the start of the season, the more. I mean, isn't it funny how Jason, for example, last year was banging on about what's his face, Milivojevic, and saying how he's going to be definitely in everybody's team, and then it comes to the start of the season and no one is even thinking of picking Milivojevic. Yeah, so actually we've got 2 weeks and a day, so 2 weeks to go until game week 1 kicks off. I mean, Gian made a very, very interesting point, what I could pick up on there regarding Liverpool. I'm going to be... Honestly, it's going to be so funny when, for example, Liverpool are comfortably winning 2-0 and they're just cruising along, and then in the 94th minute a shot comes in by, I don't know, Hanley, my boy Hanley right there. It hits Van Dijk's arm. The referee misses it, but Hanley is going mad. It hit his arm, it's hit his arm. The referee reviews it. Penalty time. Pookie steps up, scores a goal, and then bang, there goes Liverpool's clean sheet. And like I said yesterday, the fickleness and naivety of us FPL managers, where everybody is going to be like, why did I choose 2 defenders for Liverpool? We all knew that this would be a risk. We all knew that, you know, in pre-season Liverpool have been conceding goals left, right and centre. Steve-O's been banging on about the fact that he's a bit concerned about having double Liverpool. Told you. But again, we'll never know. Nobody knows. It's like Jason always uses the lottery analogy. You know, you can put your numbers on a screen and say these are the lottery numbers I want. No, you can't be picking number 3. Can't be picking number 49. You know, you should be picking these numbers. It's a lottery. Exactly the same with FPL. Even though the difference is that we have stats to back up everything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring on Gian Paolo again. Hopefully Gian can... hopefully this won't be breaking up. So Gian Paolo will bring you back live on air. Gian, are you there?
I'm just switching to players. I don't know if that's... I'm trying to do something a little bit different this season. Try to not switch between players. If you're going to go for a Sigurdsson,
Gian, have you been speaking for the last 5 minutes?
No. I was in the waiting room with Notorious Nerd.
Oh, wait. Sorry. Can you do me a favour and just turn the stream off, because the feedback is very, very frustrating to hear myself on the way back, because I really want to get you live on air. So there we are. In fact, Gian Paolo showing you the benefits of coming onto the Discord live. You can go in the waiting room, you can chat with other members of the community, voice message. So yeah, he was just there speaking with Notorious Nerd. I actually thought he was he'd been speaking to himself the whole time and thought he may have been live on air. Hopefully, Gian, you've turned the stream off. Let's try you for a third time. This is the wonders of live TV, radio, whatever. Gian, welcome back.
Lucas, I was totally thought in the beginning is a really good option, but now...
Gian.
Morning. Yes.
You need to turn the stream off.
The stream is off.
It's off? Oh.
Yes.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to deliberately ask the community. So anybody watching live right now, can you tell me if I'm echoing? So when I speak live, when I bring Gian back on, do you hear me again? If the answer is yes, and unfortunately, a lot of people mentioning it's the feedback. Right, cool. So it looks like... Right, cool. I'll bring Gian back on. Oh. Right, okay. So, Gian, if you're listening, we can bring you live on air. So, Gian, we're going to bring you live on air. Oh, I brought in the wrong... Okay, FPL Boomer, you are there. I know you are. How's it going, mate?
Yes. Yeah, really good, mate. No, basically, Jason was saying in the live chat that he thinks it's that Jan's not using headphones, and that's why the echo's coming. So I've just gone into the waiting room and let him know. So he said he's going to go try to sort that out and find some headphones.
Brilliant. Okay, well, then while you were live on air, you don't mind sticking around for a few minutes?
Yeah, no problem, mate. How's it going?
All good. We've had a few topics coming up for discussion here, so we'll kick off straight away with this Cabellos of Arsenal. What are your thoughts on him? I mean, we both thought they'd be, minimum of 7. We laughed at, I forget who it was, suggesting 6.5. He's coming at 5.5. What are your thoughts on this Cabellos? Is he an option?
He could well be an option. It's a ridiculous price, to be honest. I think they've deliberately done that to throw us, but personally, I'm going to be... how he settles in, because Arsenal players don't tend to always start, like a house on fire. Like, look at Denis Suarez. I know he's a bit of a different type of player, but we saw what happened with him. So I'd like to see how he settles in. But if he settles in well, 5.5 is an absolute steal, really.
I know this was last season, but why did this Denis Suarez just not do anything for Arsenal? I mean, based on Dan's comments, he was absolutely atrocious.
Sorry, one sec. Let me put my earphones in as well, so there's no problem. There we go. Well, the problem is I think he got an injury quite early on, so that kind of hindered him. But generally, I don't think he was a great signing anyway. And I think Dani Ceballos has got a lot more to offer than Denis Suarez. I think Denis Suarez was a CDM anyway.
You think what are your thoughts on what I said about the fact that if Cabellos actually gets some form of attack and returns, I mean, a goal would be magical, but a minimum of an assist across 2 games versus Newcastle and Burnley, and let's just say, for example, he passes the eye test. I mean, obviously they've got, ironically, Liverpool and Tottenham after that, but for the following fixtures in Watford, Aston Villa, etc., do you think that for 5.5, just get him straight in? Obviously based on the rest of your team, of course, but... Absolutely,
mate. 5.5, playing in a relatively attacking role for a very attacking-minded Arsenal team with no thought of defence. You've got to bring him in. If he passes the eye test, regardless of if he delivers an assist or a goal in the first 2 games, if he looks, get him in.
So, one more final question before we bring Gian in. Your thoughts on, I know we've spoken it to death, but for any new listeners or anybody that's just watching this and just wants to keep entertained, basically, I mean, what are your thoughts on VAR next season, and your thought process on what I joked about regarding the fact that, you never know, in the 94th minute VAR gives Norwich a penalty or whatever and they go and score from it, and obviously that's that Liverpool defence conceding. I mean, what are your genuine thoughts about how VAR will affect next season, specifically from an attacking point of view?
It could go either way, but you make a really valid point that, if Liverpool somehow are only leading 1-0 in the 92nd minute and concede a corner, and those defenders are feeling incredibly jittery and they start, nibbling on a Norwich defender's shirt, then all of a sudden, those people with triple Liverpool defence are, worrying.
Well, we saw it yesterday. Who was it? FPL Defender that had triple Liverpool?
There was a few. Brett had triple Liverpool. There's quite a few, and I was winding Brett up about it in Discord last night. There's about 7 of us talking in there, and it's like, it's worrying, especially with VAR. I wouldn't be going triple Liverpool. I think double's bad enough in defence.
And just a quick plug for the Discord right now. You were just mentioning just then there was like several of you in the Discord group. We want to tell our listeners about the benefits of this Discord group.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm talking, there was about between 7 to 9 of us in Discord for about 4 or 5 hours long. it was literally like a live stream, but on all the way. And everyone was giving their opinions, and also getting to know each other a bit more as well. There's a right community growing in Discord right now, which is why I'm so excited by it at the moment. So yeah, if you're not in Discord already, get involved, come on these live streams, and be part of the community. The good thing about our Discord is you're not gonna be told, oh look, that's an absolute rubbish team, and then just left to your devices. You're gonna get positive criticism and constructive criticism, rather than just being told, look, outright it's rubbish, and no positive advice.
You just brought up a wonderful point. I shouldn't be saying this. I'm not going to name them, but everybody will know what I'm talking about. There's this particular forum site I went on, and I don't really use it anymore. I use it, but I do not use the forum anymore for the things that you just said. I mean, I just, for example, clicked on an article. The opening comment was from somebody that I can't remember specifically who they said they wanted, and the first comment back was basically, you're a fool for having this particular. I just rolled my eyes. I was like, this is exactly why I don't use this forum. And like you said,
we don't get that at all in Discord. Not at all. That's what I love about it, though. And I too have been using a in years gone by particular forum site, and I went back on there the other day and literally got no advice. But you're not going to get that in our Discord. Like every single team that's put up, someone will have something to say, whether that be good or whether that be something needs to be changed, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, I mean, talking of, did you by chance get a glimpse of the Bournemouth game yesterday, or you just don't have a clue about it?
I didn't, but I was asking. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I was asking because there was a few people that did. But it was a pretty poor game. I think King had a few chances. Wilson looked okay, but Fraser looked the most lively out of the three.
Yeah.
But the fact that they didn't score is slightly worrying. But then they weren't playing their full first 11 in terms of behind them.
Yeah, like I said earlier on, I think the starting 11, basically, it was only the front three of Fraser, Wilson and King that would be the first team. The rest of it was just a bunch of, I'm assuming, reserve players, or just second stringers, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't be putting that Bournemouth result high up. Boona, I'm gonna put you back in the waiting room. I'm gonna bring in Gian.
Yeah,
alright,
that's
mate?
fine, dude.
Cheers, dude.
Cool. No worries, mate.
Gian, hopefully we've sorted out the sound issues and everything. We believe you brought in some headphones, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring you back live on air for what seems to be the 50th time. Gian Paolo, welcome to Elite FPL Calling. Hello, Gian.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, all good this side.
Hooray! The joy. Fantastic. Welcome to the stream, my friend. So, before you cut off and everything, you were talking about the topic point about VAR next season. Take it away, my friend. How do you think it will genuinely have an effect on the Premier League, and obviously my scenario, and FPL Boona kind of agreeing with me about the fact that, say, Liverpool are comfortably strolling to a 1-2-0 victory, and then all of a sudden in the 90th minute, VAR flags up a slight pull on the shirt, whether and Norwich go and score a penalty.
Yeah, not so sure about that. Is Norwich really going to have that much of the ball?
But
they're going to have the opportunity to get.
And that's exactly the point. It just takes one moment for something to happen where VAR picks up on something, and that's it. I'm sure there are thousands of incidences where, like you've just said, Norwich are just, they've had like 20% possession, Liverpool are just comfortably strolling along, and then Norwich get that one opportunity with a corner. And like I said, Liverpool they know they're going to win, and they just feel like they're just, I don't know, they take their eye off the ball or whatever, and Van Dijk decides, I may give Pookie a quick tug here. We're going to win anyway, and then VAR picks up.
It could well have an effect. I suppose it's just a bit of a wait and see. Yeah, so that it always puts a question at the back of my. I saw some drafts with, you had someone on yesterday who had the triple Liverpool defence with the triple City
Yeah.
midfield.
What did you think of that? I think it was FPL Defender. What do you think of that?
I totally quite like it, but your point, in back, if Liverpool in game week, or even going to game week, after 2 game weeks, and they've conceded 1 goal in each, and probably they've smashed and got about 5 goals, but the clean sheet bonus is out the window. And if Arnold or Robertson haven't got an assist or a goal, then you've got 3 players and you've got 6 points. We're banked, yes, over the course of the season, no, or from the evidence from last season, but at the end of the day, it is a new season. Who says Liverpool are going to be that sound? Yes, they're not going to have only 8 clean sheets, but are they going to return 200 plus points each? It's a wait. No one can see the future, so it's very difficult to know. Are you going to stick with that? Are you going to stick to your guns and say, okay, this is what they're going to do?
So you're breaking up after every other word. I'm going to try and persist with this. We've got your team up on screen at the moment, and it's a 4-5-1. You've got your heavy hitting players. I've seen a couple of players which are standing out, and I'm thinking, you know what? Jason's terminology of punts is definitely for these 2 particular players. And we'll quickly go through the team for anybody listening in audio. Talking of which, for anybody that does actually prefer listening to podcasts, or specifically these live streams in audio, Jason has created the fact that we are now on Spotify, iTunes and SoundCloud. So if you are wanting to listen on the replay, you don't have to go on YouTube. You can go on Spotify, iTunes and SoundCloud. Just type in Elite FPL and we will pop up. But yes, back to you, Gian Paolo. So for anybody listening on audio, it's Ryan in goal, Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk, Zinchenko, Wan-Bissaka, Salah, Sigurdsson, Fraser, Sterling, Martial and King. So I don't really want to focus on the template FPL community players, but Martial and Wan-Bissaka, why? Let's start with Wan-Bissaka. What's your thoughts on him?
Obviously, what we have to go on from last season, it was great at Palace, but he was a 4.0, but now he's moved to United. I know people don't trust United, but he also, I don't know, it's one of those things, a punt, and at that price point you can quickly switch him out to many players in that sort of range, and I think United are going to be better. That was just an absolutely atrocious season last season. I can't think they're going to be that bad. So if after 2-3 game weeks United are just shipping goals left, right and centre, then I can ship them out quite quickly. And then if you looked at my Martial punt, I looked at the minutes played last season, and if he's nailed on, if he played 3,000 minutes, he would have got 240 points. So I think he could be a great bet.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday, or the day before, whatever, I know Jason's a massive advocate of Wan-Bissaka, not just this season, but last season. He thinks that he's going to be a great signing. And a very good friend of mine, Nick Reed, who's in the chat right now, he's saying that Aaron Wan-Bissaka has been absolutely fantastic in pre-season. Taken to the club with no fear at all, he'll be a great signing. So does that make you a lot more confident in this? I mean, Jason's words, I mean, this is what's really interesting about this Discord group, is that you are getting a fan's perspective on a lot of players, and certainly Wan-Bissaka is being highly talked about, and as Nick's just mentioned here, it does seem that he could be a really, really good signing.
Yeah, maybe I've got my United goggles on, as they say, but he looks good in pre-season, but there are other players in the defence, and if you've got a Smalling or a Jones in there who makes an error, there's your clean sheet gone.
I mean, Ben Taylor, talking about Man United's defence, he said that unless they sign another centre-back, I mean, Maguire's been spoken about to death, but unless they were to bring in a new signing at centre-back, he wouldn't go near Man United's defence. I mean, talking of going on to Martial, Nick Reed again saying that Martial's been scoring in pre-season. He's been looking very, very good. A lot better than the end of last season, or the end of last season. So, again, I think that what you were just saying about the fact that if Martial had played approximately 3,000 minutes, he would have got right. I mean, I looked at his actual returns, and from 1,600 minutes, he got 10 goals and 4 assists. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's the same argument I'm having with Leroy Sané. If Pep would trust him, then Sané, I would go for Sané over Sterling. Not because of the price point, I just think he's that explosive. And even if you do look at Sterling, I think he's a better option than Salah if he plays every minute. Because he's never played over, I think last season with 2,900 minutes, and Salah's 3,200. So I think, I don't know what is possible.
Well, you've been speaking to Notorious Nerd there, and he is somebody that's been advocating Sané for a very, very long time. FPL Defender had Sané in his team, and there seems to be talk that Sané could actually start the first couple of games. Do you think that actually Sané is actually worth a punt at the start of the season ahead of Sterling?
If you got some sort of clarification from Pep that he's going to be playing, but the Pep roulette, I don't want to be gambling. I want players I know are going to play and are going to get me a return.
I mean, I'm sure we'll be doing a live stream. Don't quote me on this, everybody, but I'm sure we'll be doing a live stream after the Community Shield match. But if Sané does, I know we don't have a crystal ball, but let's just say if Sané does start versus Liverpool, do you think that is almost pretty much guaranteed that he will be starting the season?
Yeah, I think it's similar to last season. If you recall, just before game week 1, hardly anyone had a Euro in their side. And then in the Community Shield, he banged 2 goals, if I remember correct.
Yes, yeah.
And then everyone was over a Euro. So if something like that happens now, there's some player that someone didn't consider and gets 2 goals, and they think, okay, no, we got to get this player in our side.
I mean, I'm
just say, what happens if De Bruyne but gets 2-3 assists, and then yes, he's in a few sides, but I think he's been overlooked.
And this is the wonderful thing about fantasy football, is that our opinions change just after one game. And I mean, we've already discussed VAR, but after this discussion we've had today, I mean, I know you're a regular in the Discord group. I mean, looking at your back four, having double Liverpool defence, is your opinion slowly changing because of this VAR potential of costing Liverpool a goal at certain random points, or do you think, nope, Liverpool's defence is one of the best, if not the best in the league? I'm sticking with them, and I'm very confident next season they're going to get me a minimum of 16 clean sheets, and that's without attacking returns.
Yeah, that's the way I'm sort of going, but it does have even the double up on any defense. If you concede, it just hangs in the back of your mind. But then you think, for that price point, who's a better option?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because your value. So if you take a 7 million, just say Trent or Robertson, and you compare it to a 7 million midfielder, they're going to maybe get you 150 points, 160 points, but the 200, it's uncomparable. So I don't think Milivojevic or Zaha or even a Felipe Anderson is going to be able to match Trent Alexander-Arnold.
You bring up Zaha there. Obviously, there was talk about him. Well, no, there's no talk about it. It's a fact that Everton have put in a bid of 60 million per plus Cenk Toussaint to Crystal Palace. Do you think that if Zaha did actually move to Everton, is that a case of get rid of Sigurdsson or Richarlison? I mean, you've got Sigurdsson, and bring in Zaha instead? Or do you think he's a wait and see how he fits into their team?
Maybe a bit of a wait and see, but I'm thinking maybe he is Sigurdsson plus a Zaha due to the Everton fixtures for the first 10.
Wow. Who then? Let's just take it as read that this is your team game week 1. It's Thursday and Zaha's signed for Everton, and you stick with the plan of, do you know what, Zaha and Sigurdsson together. Who are you going to get rid of out of that team? I'm assuming Fraser.
It's either Fraser or Martial. If there's no guarantee, if Solskjaer comes out and says he's going with Greenwood, and Martial's going to miss out, then I think Zaha is a good punt.
I mean, looking at your team,
it's not really a punt. I think he's going to score points.
Yeah, completely agree.
He might. I'm thinking if he plays at Everton, he could play an out of position forward,
like he did at Crystal Palace.
Yeah, so then he would lead the line. So every goal he's going to get an extra because the midfielder gets more for a goal, and then he's still going to get the clean sheet bonus.
Do you agree with me that Zaha, if he does move, it would be, from a fantasy perspective, a better move to Everton than Arsenal? Because as you've just mentioned, at Everton, he will be one of the main men there, whereas if he goes to Arsenal, he'd be one of 3 or 4 options.
It depends how Arsenal want to set up, I believe, because someone like Aubameyang is not guaranteed a start every game. Last season you saw him left. He seemed to go with Lacazette to the line, and then Aubameyang's pushed up to the wing. So where is Zaha going to play? Is someone like this new signing, is he going to be straight into the team? Is he a wait and see? What's Ozil's role? Is Mkhitaryan going to get game time? So it's a lot of wait and sees with Arsenal. So I think definitely Everton is a better bet from a fantasy perspective. I think Arsenal fans they'll be over the moon. I think Arsenal fan TV will be going crazy. But I think definitely from a fantasy perspective, I think Everton's better for Zaha. Or for us, at least. I mean, we're a little bit selfish in that regard.
So, I know you're a regular in the Discord group. We look at this draft up on screen right now. What draft number is this? And how many of these specific players usually stay in every single draft no matter what? I mean, I could take a guess, but I'd like to hear it from yourself.
Pretty much. The majority of the team, or the structure of the team, has been there all along. So Lucas Ding was in there from the beginning, and he just went out for Wan-Bissaka. Arnold and Van Dijk have been there from the beginning. Zinchenko was Laporte. The 4.0 was Reed, and then it became Kelly. I've had Ryan and Button all along. Salah, Sterling haven't left. Sigurdsson hasn't left. Fraser's been there for the vast majority. I had Calvert-Lewin and Tammy Abraham. I had Zaha for a while in midfield. But pretty much it's stayed the same all along.
You mentioned that you got rid of Digne. Is this because, I mean, Notorious Nerd, we'll get him on in a minute. The Horus Nerd made an interesting point. We did bring up this point yesterday, the fact that this Gay is going to be it looks like he's going to be leaving. Do you think is that one of the reasons why you got rid of Digne, because you worried that actually because of without Gay or even Zuma, their defence isn't as shored up as what you'd like to think it will be, or is there another reasoning to why you got rid of Digne?
Yeah, he's sort of the Fernandinho for Everton in front of the defence. So then Zuma's gone. So then if I looked at it's Keane and Mina in central defence. Is Delph going to be the foil in front of the defence? So it's a bit of wait and see. The fixtures are great, but they look a little bit light at the back.
Absolutely, yeah. One more quick question, actually, looking at your team. I'm personally not a fan of having 3 non-starting substitutes. So, whatever people may be thinking, Greenwood, Enkai, Nikita and Kelly, especially the strikers, to me, I think they're extremely risky. What are your thoughts on having a substitute bench of basically non-playing starters, basically? Does that not concern you?
It is a slight concern, but I believe that whatever team I go with in game week 1 are nailed on players, and unless there's been a red card in the previous game week or someone is injured, then I don't believe that I've got real issues. Dendonka can come in. So I think I should be alright, but if I see when a wild card, okay, no, then I'm gonna have to do a reshuffle, and I've got to have at least 2 lay-in subs. Then I think that's what I can do going forward.
Brilliant. Gian, thank you for coming live on the Elite FPL call-in, and we welcome you back on another time. Thank you.
Alright, just 2 weeks to go.
There we have it. Cheers, dude. Gian Paolo there reassuring us that we've only got 2 weeks to go to be messing about with our fantasy teams and panicking over which players to be having. And we all know what will happen here. We will all end up with the community template team. We'll get on Notorious Nerd in a second, but what we'll do is, as Jason always says, let's see what's going on in the chat right now. Andy Bick making a point that he's just done a draft with Cabellos in his team, and it really gives you the chance to upgrade to a 3rd premium player within your team. What are your thoughts on that? Are you somebody that is jumping on the Cabellos bandwagon? And because number 1, he plays for a premium team, and number 2, the fact that he's only 5.5 allows you to upgrade someone like, I don't know, Fraser or Sigurdsson or whatever, to someone like Kevin De Bruyne, maybe even Sane, as Gian Paolo was making a point there regarding Sane, if he's pretty much a guaranteed starter based on potentially Pep's comments, or even the fact that he starts in the Community Shield, is Sane somebody to be definitely getting on to. Ben Taylor making a point here that he only has 1 bench player that plays, so he doesn't have to transfer out for bad fixtures. Yeah, I mean, my thought process regarding a playing defender, now admittedly the team up in front of you right now is a 3-5-2 formation, and not Ceballos. So yeah, up in front of the screen right now, it's actually going to be a 3-5-2 formation. So if I just quickly put it into the actual team format, you'll be able to see what I'm looking at. And I'm actually personally quite happy with this team. I am on the understanding that Hanley is going to be pretty much a guaranteed starter for Norwich. This Lundstrom's a bit concerning. I'm probably going to get rid of him. Greenwood, I'm just happy to have for now. At the end of the day, Wilson and Jota are, like I said, they're key to their teams, and I can't see them being dropped unless, of course, they get injured or show bad form. But this, I've been thinking about the 4-man defence, maybe even at a push a 5-man defence. I don't like it. I'm not willing to have a defence which then makes me have one less attacker. I'm more inclined to go with 3 at the back and either 4 midfielders, 3 strikers, or obviously in this case 5 mids and 2 strikers. I like the look of that team. I know FPL Boona, that's pretty much kind of what he's set on. The double Man City defence, I'm pretty happy with, within reason, but like I said, I think my team is going to end up being like the FPL community template team, because as I keep banging on about, and for people that have been watching this show daily, basically the FPL community template team is pretty much the players that I think are worth having, full stop. But yeah, what was I going to say regarding FPL community? Get this date in your diary, everybody. So on the 4th of August, so which is in, well, 1 week's time. So basically next week Sunday, myself and Jason and possibly Dan will be doing a live stream based on your Elite FPL community team. For anybody new that's watching us and they're wondering what on earth I'm talking about, basically last season we had feedback on what we could do for this season, and one of the ideas which three of us agreed on, we thought was a really good idea. CPU is really, really low, but I'm getting a green and red flash. Hoping that's not too loud. I'll turn that for a second. Hopefully you won't have a buzzing. Apologies for that that moment there. Yes, what was I talking about? Oh yes, the Elite FPL community team, and some of the feedback was to make an Elite FPL community team, and basically we are going to be entering this FPL community team into the a mini league that was set up by a what's the word I'm looking for? A contributor to the Planet FPL podcast, and his name is, once I bring it up here, Stephen Toomey, sorry, at 6th Goal. And basically he contacted us and said if we're willing to enter a team into a special mini league that he's setting up, which will basically involve a lot of members of the FPL Twitter community, high prestige names, and also YouTube creators. And what he's planning on doing is then making a podcast specifically about this team, or this mini league. And I thought, well, we're already doing something similar to this, why not enter the Elite FPL community team into this specific mini league? And that's what we're going to be doing. To clarify, and we're going to do this all on the day anyway, so this is the 4th of August, which is next week Sunday, and it will be an evening stream as well. So it's going to be an evening stream, not 8 o'clock in the morning. What we know for fact is we're going to be going with a 4-4-2 formation, which was voted by you guys on Twitter at Elite FPL, and also we will be going with a set and forget goalkeeper. So basically we're not wanting people to be coming on that day, and you will be ignored, simply put, by coming on and saying, we shouldn't be doing a 4-4-2, we should be doing a 3-5-2 or a 4-5-1, whatever. No, we are going with a 4-4-2 formation. You had your say. If you didn't vote, that's your loss. So we took a vote on that, and like I said, we're going with a get keeper, and we're not, again, going to know why, maybe because in the house someone else is using the internet, who knows, but I'm hoping everything's okay. It seems, based on the comments in chat, that everything seems fine. So yeah, I'm personally really looking forward to this specific Elite FPL community team. You guys are representing us. We're not, me, Jason and Dan have got nothing to do with it. So we're going to just ask the questions, you're going to choose the players, we're going to be doing various votes. I'm sure Jason will be able to put up votes live on the Discord and everything, and at the end of the day, if you don't vote, well, that's your fault. We want to make this as fair as possible about what players you want to bring in. I mean, Notorious Nerd made a very interesting point that he feels like it's going to be very... I'm a bit concerned this stream is going to pot at the moment, so I may have to cut this early, I'm afraid, because as Jason keeps banging on about the SAT, talking of Notorious Nerd, but I don't really want to be bringing them on if the stream is collapsing around. If anybody in chat wants to let me know how well the stream is doing, please let me know. And I'll do a few admin things while I'm waiting for some feedback on what's going on at the moment. But yeah, as ever, if you are new to the stream and you're enjoying what you're watching, please just simply hit that subscribe button and the notification button. These are just special podcasts at the moment. I've got 9 days off, basically off work, and I'm going to be bored, and I just thought, why not just do live streaming every single day? They're all about you guys. You guys are willing to chat with me about all things fantasy football. We had a wonderful caller on just now, Gian Paolo. I'm sure everybody in the Discord group recognises the name. Wonderful discussion points that he was bringing up. Right, I'm fully aware that this has just crashed. Nothing's been affected by the stream, mind. FPL Boone is saying that I've definitely broke my laptop. No, I haven't broke my laptop. I haven't broken anything. Again, I'm going to ask this simple question again. I'm fully aware that the website just went down for 30 seconds. It's telling me here right now that nothing went off air, so it's still continued at now 1 hour and 9 minutes. So I think there's just something wrong with the program. At the moment, it's not flashing anything. So actually, I may be able to continue this stream after all. I can only apologise for the technical issues and everything, but these things unfortunately happen. I try and make these streams as long as possible, bearing in mind that I know that you guys want to stay on right. So people in chat are basically just simply saying that everything is fine. Cool. Yeah, so like I was saying, if you want to contact us about these particular streams and everything, let us know through Twitter, Instagram, and if, like I said, if you want to tell us publicly, you can do it through YouTube. But obviously, we would rather you tell us privately. Any positive feedback, basically, or any constructive criticism / feedback will be interesting to know. So yeah, I know we've got a couple of people in the waiting room at the moment, and I'm going to get on Notorious Nerd because he's been waiting patiently for the last hour, basically. So Notorious Nerd, please make sure that the stream is off. Well, probably was a minute ago, but make sure that the stream is off or put down. You know the drill, you've been on plenty of times, and we will get you on now. So Notorious Nerd, welcome to Elite FPL Calling.
Yeah, hello there, Steve.
Beautiful.
How's it going?
All good, my friend. Obviously, you were somebody that brought up a few discussion points for this particular Elite FPL Calling, especially one about an interesting one that I want to hear people's thoughts about in chat, but we'll hear from you. Is you asked about what we think is the best premium. Who do we think are the best premium options? The best budget options from premium teams, and you gave examples of Zuma, Zinchenko, etc. I mean, what are your thoughts on that before I get to myself in chat?
Initial games will be important to watch. Of this, what I'm thinking, like, going to have just one defender from each of the. Just going to have Alexander-Arnold from Liverpool. I'll have Walker. Whoever emerges premium budget option, like it active in regular minutes.
Oh, you're
I
breaking up.
can bring him in.
You're breaking up, Notorious Nerd. I'm really sorry, mate. I'll try and get you back on air again, but you're breaking up pretty badly, my friend. I can only apologise taking you off, but I know what it's like for listeners when the constant breakups. It's very difficult to have a coherent conversation. But what we'll do is we'll bring on, well, we all know who he is. It's Jason. It's not Jason, our Jason. It's FPL Little Saints from Cyprus. We'll bring him live on air. FPL Little Saints, you are live on Elite FPL Calling. How are you? How is Cyprus at the moment? FPL Little Saints, need to unmute your mic. Let's put him back in the waiting room. Notorious Nerd, Notorious Nerd will bring you back on in a second. FPL Little Saints, you seem to have unmuted your mic, so FPL Little Saints will get you on now. Good morning, FPL Little Saints. How's Cyprus at the moment?
Morning, everyone. It's good. It's not too bad at the moment, but give it another 2 hours or so, and we'll hit the. Hello?
Yeah, hello. I was thinking. I don't know if you cut off or you were just cutting out, or were you actually, you just went silent. So the main topic point of today really is what I want to discuss is about VAR, and how are you thinking of VAR this season, and how you think it may affect thought processes regarding choosing your team, i.e. like we've already given the scenario of Liverpool versus Norwich, potentially Norwich getting a 94th minute penalty due to a VAR decision. Is it affecting your decision making at all, or are you just not worried?
Well, to be honest, I actually started like that with that thought process. I had something like 4 or 5 penalty takers in my team. So after that initial thought and everything about that, I just thought it's gonna basically balance. It's gonna balance out. So just continue as normal. To be honest.
Yeah. So what made you decide to get rid of the 4 or 5 penalty takers then, or have you actually still got the majority of those penalty takers in?
I had Millie in. I had. I've removed him. I've still got Sigurdsson. I had King in. I've moved him. Basically, I'm not really interested anymore in VAR and what may happen and how it may happen. And for conversation's sake, a 94th minute Norwich penalty or whatnot. It's all, everyone's looking at a bit of doom and gloom, let's say. So if it is to be, it is to be. That's FPL. That's you can't foresee that.
You're obviously an Arsenal fan. Your thoughts on this Cabellos coming in at 5.5? Is he immediately in your team, or are you somebody that's just going to wait and see?
Well, at the moment, I don't have him in my team. It's a steal. It's tempting, 5.5. But I don't know where he'll actually play. If he plays in the number 8 role, then for me, he'll be the pre-assister, more or less.
So you think the assister of the assister, a bit like Modric at Tottenham?
Something like that, yeah. But it's a wait and see. And at the moment, the way my team is at the moment, I've got quite a few problems. And if I bring Capellos in, Ceballos, sorry, it's basically piling up more problems.
When you say you've got problems with your team, specifically where? Or what are you thinking are the issues?
Well, if you're going to rate my team, I've posted the team and I've circled the players.
Yeah. Well, while I look for it, let's get your thoughts on potentially this Wolves striker that could be coming in from AC Milan. What's his face again? Catrone,
yeah. Nothing too fancy, but I won't say he's deadbeat. He could come and revitalise his career. He's only 21, 22.
Yes, yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, not that I was watching a lot of Italian football or anything, but if I'm not mistaken, they brought someone else in and he immediately got benched. So he was more as the plan B.
Yes, yeah.
So you can't really base it on that. I could flip it and say the same could go for Giroud last season.
So we've got your team at the moment here, and you've circled the players that kind of concern you. So obviously you're somebody which is or was an advocate of Boa Rice's plan of having a premium forward in Aubameyang, Kane, whoever, but in this case Aubameyang, having a cheap defender who you think has a couple of good fixtures, the obvious one being Ake, and then at game week 3 you take out Aubameyang, you take out Ake, you replace Ake with a premium defender and replace Aubameyang with Jamie Vardy. It doesn't look like you're going down that route now. It looks like you're going with not quite a template FPL community team, but you've highlighted or circled 4 players in which you're concerned about. For people listening on audio, these players are Coleman, Fraser, Aubameyang and Calvert-Lewin. I mean, one of those names straight away, I think, yeah, that is a problem in Calvert-Lewin. But in all seriousness, in your opinion, why are these a problem issue for yourself?
Well, my initial thought was to take out I'd already planned my game week 3 transfers, which was to take out Aubameyang, take out Fraser, and bring in a cheapie as my striker, because if you see my bench, I've got Haller, and I'm a big advocate for Haller. And to basically upgrade Fraser to Salah, because I don't have Salah in my team at the moment. But the problem is now the whole wrench in the system, in the machine, is Coleman, because now that Idrissa Gueye's gone, and obviously they don't have Zuma. Apparently, King got a slight knock, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Yeah, he got a bit of knock to the head, but I don't think it's anything to worry about.
Yeah, so considering these as well, I'm scared of Coleman now. Like, especially without Idrissa Gueye there to cover him, because he's basically their CDM. I don't see them playing Schneiderlin. So my problem is, what do I do with Coleman? And obviously someone would say, get Ake, and it'll save me a 0.5. But if I bring Ake in, that makes my game week 3 plan out the window, because that's making me take a 4-point hit come game week 3, which I basically don't want.
I mean, I think Coleman in general is just a very, very good FPL asset to own. I think looking at your team, it's the Calvert-Lewin pick. Why Calvert-Lewin for you?
The reason for Calvert-Lewin is obviously his price range, which is 6, and not only that, because I need Haller in my team, because I'm really, from game week 2 onwards, he will be playing in my team. There isn't another way to get. Say I didn't have Haller, okay, and I was going to change him out for, let's say, Aubameyang, but I want him in from game week 2 onwards. So there wasn't a way to actually do that without. Obviously, Everton haven't got a striker yet. It's just him and Toussaint, which Toussaint, let's say, is not there, let's just say. So with Richarlison, let's say with Sigurdsson, with Digne and Coleman on the other side, I think Calvert-Lewin, as everything stands at the moment, so he will have his chances to put them away. So that's basically the reason for it.
And Little Saints, you were breaking up. I don't know if it's because I'm using something else here. But, I mean, are you somebody that's looking at the Zaha situation regarding the fact that Everton are putting this £60 million bed, chucking in Toussaint as well? Would you be somebody that would get rid of Sigurdsson immediately if that was actually confirmed and bring in Zaha ahead of Sigurdsson? Okay,
for discussion's sake, say they do get Zaha. How will they be playing? Will it be a 4-2-3-1?
The talk is that they reckon that Zaha that Zaha would actually be a false number 9, be the striker basically.
Oh, so he'll. Oh, okay. So then, no, I would actually bring Zaha in for, like, not in place of Sigurdsson, to play with Sigurdsson.
Oh, so, well, Gian Paolo actually made that point earlier on, that he would actually have double Everton attack if Zaha was to go there. So you'd be a big advocate of that.
I would even be an advocate for him if he goes to Arsenal.
Right, okay. And your thought...
I don't. Which is basically going against what everyone's saying now. That is at Crystal.
Mm.
Can you hear me, or am I still breaking up?
No, I can. I can hear you. Yeah.
I don't know about Zaha. And even if he does stay at Crystal Palace, I think he'll be so vexed that he hasn't got a move, i.e. either to Arsenal or to even Everton.
Right.
Because
Okay.
it seems like he doesn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah, I mean, if he was to go to Arsenal, do you think then that makes Aubameyang a less appealing option, or do you think it makes him a more appealing option?
More, because for me, straight away, I know what formation he'll play. Now, say Emery, I honestly don't know what formation season with, or what he prefers. Will be so he will be on the left, Aubameyang on the right, and Lacazette up front.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Jason, or little. It's weird calling you Jason because I'm so used to.
I don't know if Ozil will play, but Ceballos will play. Then we'll have, obviously, Granit Xhaka, which I don't rate at all, but he has to play. And Torreira, who basically is on holiday, he hasn't even featured yet. Someone else in the middle there, so it will be a 4-3.
Little Saints, you're breaking up, mate. So what we'll do is we'll put you back in the waiting room. But what I will say is that thank you for taking the time out to come live on the air, mate.
Yeah, no worries. I'm gonna leave anyway. Still will be listening to the stream, but obviously I won't be able to come back on. So it was nice talking to you.
Cheers, dude, and we will see you tomorrow morning, or whenever I decide to do this tomorrow. It may be even with Dan and Jason. Who knows?
That will be great. Yeah, I'll catch you soon.
Cheers, dude.
Have a nice one, Steve.
Nice, you too. FPL Little Saints there joining us live. Apologies for the breaking up of sound there. I do try and give as much a chance as possible, but I'm fully aware that what it's like hearing someone breaking up. So at the moment you may have noticed that I was playing around with a team up on screen because somebody in the chat by the name of where are you, Super Coach Deji, asking what I think is, or what is, the FPL community template team, and that is it. That is it. I mean, you could, for example, take out Laporte, put in Zinchenko, and upgrade Coleman to Digne. But I mean, to be fair, I don't know if it's changed much over recent weeks. I think the only one, in fact I'll do it now, I think the only one that has specifically changed is probably Laporte out for Zinchenko. I think that's the only one, and obviously then you could upgrade maybe King. King to John. What's his face? Wilson. Where's Zinchenko? There he is. So yeah, I would actually say now. Actually, that's more the template. No, I can't even bring in what's his face? Wilson. Yeah, I personally see that as what the majority of people are going with. Do you agree or do you disagree? I think most people do agree with that, and I think that that could be how most people will be going when it comes to choosing the Elite FPL community team. What do you think about the FPL community template team? What do you think of that? Like I said, there's $1 million actually left in the bank because I'm not having Laporte. I'm going with Zinchenko because he seems to be the new number one kid on the block everybody needs to own. But yeah, thought in chats, everybody. So we got a few more people in the Discord. Let's go and bring these guys in. Let's say hello to them. And let's chat all things fantasy football. Like I say, there is a bit of a format to the show. There is some discussion points I want to be talking about, but I'll bring Miatt on because Theo, you've got your mic muted. But Miatt will bring you live on air in a few seconds. So Miatt, you're live on Elite FPL Calling. Welcome to the show, my friend. Hello, Miatt.
Hello.
Hello, Mike.
Can
You
you
are
hear me?
live. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, my friend. How are you?
I'm okay. Do you want to check my team? It's on Rate My Team.
Yep, certainly. I've got it up on screen in 2 seconds. Just need to take that off, put that on. Here's Mike's team, everybody. And, wow. Here we go. So we're talking about the FPL community template team here. This is definitely couldn't be further from the template team. This is great. So people listening on audio, it's Ryan in goal, and then we're going with a 5-4-1. A Robertson, Laporte, Alexander-Arnold, Wan-Bissaka, Walker-Peters, Sigurdsson, De Bruyne, Sane, Fraser, and Harry Kane up top. And an interesting subs bench consisting of Greenwood, Dendoncker, and Wesley. So, Miatt, the floor is yours. Do you want to tell us your reasonings as to why you're having, Wan-Bissaka to start with, and more importantly, Walker-Peters?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so Walker Peters played the last two preseason games for Spurs, seems to be nailed on at 5. So I reckon he might start this season. Then Wesley's on pens, and I think after Spurs for live a good fit. Son, he's still a bit skeptical, but we'll have to see in the Community Shield game if he starts.
You're going without Salah, and obviously you've got double Liverpool defence. Do you think this double Liverpool defence will actually cover what potentially Salah could get?
Well, he looked quite tired in the game against South Africa, AFCON. He hasn't had a 2 years. He hasn't had a break. I don't think he'll start game week 1, and I'm planning maybe game week 3 early wild card. So if he does start fighting, I'll just bring him in.
So, I mean, breaking news, everybody. You think Salah may not make game week 1? What on earth makes you think this?
Because he hasn't started any. Let's say, well, he hasn't been back from preseason. I mean, Mane certainly, I don't think will start, and I reckon Salah might not start game week 1, in my opinion. We'll have to see Community Shield, obviously, but it's my opinion.
Wow, very, very interesting. I mean,
and I mean, if you're spending 12.5 on this midfielder who doesn't start game week 1, and you cap, and let's say he only comes on in the 75th minute, potentially could only get 1 point, and then I think it's like 30-something% of the game fail game week 1.
I mean,
necessarily because
I'm somebody that I don't think that Salah will miss game week 1. I think he'll be perfectly fine to play. But that's an interesting, a very, very funny and interesting scenario that you bring up. That if you believe that Salah doesn't start but could potentially come on for like 10-15 minutes of the game versus 20 odd minutes versus the game versus Norwich, and everybody's captaining Salah. Wow, that's a really interesting. Is this why you're going with basically a Salah-less and Sterling-less team? I mean, you've got obviously De Bruyne and Sane, a bit like with Alexander-Arnold and Robertson. Do you think that De Bruyne and Sane can cover Sterling's points? I mean, my answer is
No.
yeah.
Can you please repeat?
I was just saying that De Bruyne and Sane, do you think that they will cover Sterling's possible points regarding, like, say, double-digit explosive returns as an example?
Definitely. I mean, okay, Sane is not guaranteed to start, but if he does start Sterling, and De Bruyne seems to be nailed on at 9.5, too good to miss out. So yeah, and if you look at it, although Liverpool don't keep a clean sheet, I mean Robertson and Trent are attacking fullbacks, could get a few assists. So yeah.
Is the main talking topic point of today's show is about VAR and the potential negative approach that it will have on fantasy managers on going with double defence in various teams, the popular choice being obviously Liverpool. Does VAR not worry you regarding possibly, for example, I'm just using this, Norwich scoring in the 94th minute due to some lacklustre defending because Liverpool are comfortably
it
winning?
could go either way if you think of it. I mean, it could also be that, let's say Liverpool get a free kick, Trent's on the free kick, and he scores it 95th minute. VAR gives a free kick just at the edge of the box. It could really go either way, in my opinion, but not really.
It's not.
Worried. Have to see the impacts.
It's not having any effect on your thought process whatsoever.
I reckon it will have an effect on Salah because, I mean, he got 3 pens which he wouldn't have got necessarily if VAR was there, so could have an effect on him. But yeah.
And just one more final question for yourself. So obviously, again, you're a regular in the Discord community. What draft number is this, and what's the likelihood of this being your game week 1 team?
I mean, I had a previous draft with Lacazette in. I thought that would be the one I stay with till game, but Emily's comments about Aubameyang nailed on. So, and he never mentioned Lacazette, so it just gives a bit of a worry. So I thought I might stick without Lacazette. But looking at Ceballos at 5.5 could be a game changer.
I say it was my last question. It's not going to be. You haven't gone into the Everton defence. You've got Sigurdsson, but you're not interested in their defence whatsoever. Is this a new thought process because Idrissa Gueye is leaving?
No, I mean, I've never. I mean, I wouldn't be interested in Everton's defence. I mean, if you look at it, no Ghana Gay, no Kurt Zuma. I mean, Yari Mina is suspect in defence, so.
Well, that's if Yaramina plays. He's been suspended for some betting thing that he did.
Yeah. Who else would play in that centre back position? If you look, Michael Keane, I think, but I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, brilliant. And just a quick final thought. You think that Wesley's a good signing for Aston Villa?
Definitely. I mean, if you look at the 6.5 bracket, I don't like Wolves fixtures necessarily. Don't want to double up on Bournemouth necessarily. And at 6 million, he is on pens for good fixtures after the Man City game.
Excellent call. Miatt, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Cheers, dude. There we are, Miatt there. From, I know I'm going to get this right, South Africa. I could pick up on the accent. Right, so on to... we'll see if Notorious Nerd, if his sound issues have corrected themselves here. Notorious Nerd, we'll bring you live on air. Notorious, are you there?
Hello.
Hopefully this will be a lot more smoother than earlier on. So we've all been discussing VAR today and everything. Has VAR actually had any impact on your thought processes whatsoever regarding your fantasy team, whether it would be bringing in penalty takers, free kick takers, or taking away double Liverpool or Man City defence?
Yes, I think how VR has affected me is that I may not go for the double up with the Liverpool defense. I may instead look to spread my defensive coverage across all teams because it is, and I'm just gonna have the nailed each team.
So, as I mentioned earlier, you brought up a very interesting topic to discuss regarding players that are budget options for premium teams. And you mentioned players like Zinchenko, Zuma as a couple of examples here. Are there any players off the top of your head that you think are absolutely worth every penny regarding the fact they are going to be playing for a premium team? I mean, this Ceballos as an example. What do you think of this Ceballos coming in at 5.5?
I mean, it's a very attractive price. I think FPL have priced it well, but with Ceballos, it's still a way because he hasn't played many games this previous season, wherever he has been. So we have to see whether he perform in a full season. Like he can be a Morata type of a player because not used to in the first team. So we have to wait for it. But if he starts doing well, he's nailed. So everyone's going to have him.
Yeah, you're breaking up a bit, but I can hold you on for just a one more question here, which is, and it's completely gone off the top of my head. Oh yes, on the screen at the moment, we've got what I believe is the FPL community template team. Do you agree with it, or do you think there have been new contenders to change up this community team per se? Like I said, it looks like Zinchenko is now the new boy on the block.
Zinchenko is still a risk for me. There can be rotation like with the other left back. I'm not sure about.
Oh, Notorious, you're cutting out there. Unfortunately, we'll get you off on that.
Yeah, Zinchenko is a risk for me.
Notorious, you're cutting out a bit there. We'll put you back in the waiting. But thank you so much for joining in, my friend. Thank you.
Hello.
That was awesome. Of course, this is one. We'll bring on Theo. Theo, you are live on Elite FPL Radio. Welcome to the show. Elite FPL calling. Whoops. There we are. Hello, Theo.
Yep, hello.
Hello, mate. How's it going?
Yeah, good, how are you?
All good. Is that an Australian accent I detect there?
Yep.
Yes, there we are, Boona. Got that one right. What's the weather like over in Australia? Where specifically are you in Australia at the moment? What's the weather like?
Melbourne. It's winter now.
Oh, yes, of course.
And nothing over 20 degrees.
Wow. So, the topic of discussion is today was all about VAR and everything. Has it had any effect on your thought processes regarding fantasy football players for your team?
No, it hasn't. I'm not looking too much into it. I've been watching all the VAR videos and, I think Boona said earlier, it could go either way. So, yeah, I'm just going to plan.
And what about this Ceballos, however you want to pronounce his name, for Arsenal? Do you think that he is somebody to definitely be getting into your team at 5.5, or is he just quite simply a wait and see?
Well, if you check Rate My Team, I think it was 40 minutes ago now, I've got a draft with him in. So,
I've literally just come across it.
I'm not sure.
Wow. So, can you tell me straight away why you have instantly put this Ceballos in your team?
Well, I'm not really thinking of putting him in, but this is just a test. I might switch to Gundogan or Moutinho for that midfielder, but that looks to be my set team if Zaha moves to Everton.
Wow, so you're telling our audience that this is probably going to be your game week 1 team.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty set on it.
So you're one of the few people that are actually going with 2 premium strikers in Aubameyang and Kane. So for anybody listening on audio, it's Nick Pope in goal, Digne, Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk and Ake, Zaha, Lucas Moura, Sterling, as we've just mentioned, Ceballos, Aubameyang and Kane up front. So you're very, very confident with this team going into game week 1.
Yeah, I think Aubameyang and Kane will switch each week on captaincy. Kane game week 1, Aubameyang 2, and then Kane 3. And I think they got better fixtures than Salah for the first 3 or 4. And then I'll eventually trade Salah in.
So you're not somebody that's I say falling, but you're going for this trap of not having Salah because you're worried about what he potentially could do versus Norwich and Southampton. You're happy with having 3 premiums in Aubameyang, Kane and Sterling, and you think that those 3 will be able to cover Salah's potential explosive points.
Yeah, I think I was comparing Aubameyang and Salah, and since I'm going to try and trade in Salah 4th week or 5th week, see who gets the most points till then. And Aubameyang's fixture seems pretty strong for the start.
When you play this game, do you normally plan? I mean, how many years have you been playing this?
Well, this is only my 2nd year. I didn't.
Did you do any
really
planning like this last year?
No.
So what's made you decide to plan for this season then? Because I think that sounds like a really logical plan. I like it.
Yeah. Last year it sort of cost me at times. I didn't know what to do, and when injuries hit, I didn't have a second plan. So my team was a mess.
Yeah, I mean, looking at your captaincy choice instantly, we had a Kev on yesterday as a co-host, really, aka Statman, and he was saying about Aubameyang's record or Arsenal's record versus Newcastle, and it is woeful. I'd be more tempted to put the captaincy on Kane, or is this just at the moment just an auto pick captaincy, or would you be going with Aubameyang versus Newcastle as captain?
Yeah, this is an auto pick. I've got Kane captain first game week.
Are you confident for if Zaha does move to Everton? Would you be even more confident him being there than at Crystal Palace?
Yeah, I reckon. He'd definitely slot into the striker position and replace Calvert-Lewin. So I think he's got some good attackers behind him that could, feed him good balls. Better than Crystal Palace.
And one final question before we let you go. You have Digne in your team here. You're not worried about the fact that this Gay's going and the fact that Zuma won't be there is going to have an effect on their clean sheet potential, or do you think that nope, Digne's more of almost like a midfielder, and because he's on set pieces, you're more than happy to have him in your team?
Yeah, he's on set pieces, and he's really attacking. I feel like he creates so many chances that he'd be good value at 6 million.
Excellent. Theo, thank you for joining us all the way from Melbourne, my friend.
Yep, thank you.
Cheers, dude. There we are, Theo there, coming live on Elite FPL calling. That was absolutely fantastic. Oh, we've got FPL Defender. He was on yesterday, and we'll bring him on now. So, FPL Defender, you are live on Elite FPL calling. Day 2 in a row for yourself.
Hello there.
Hello there, Defender. How are you?
I'm good. You?
I'm great, my friend. It's day 2, of course, on the Elite FPL calling and everything. And I mean, we've been discussing VAR at the moment, and the main question being is that has VAR ever come across your mindset as to who you're choosing for your team?
Yeah. I have double question there because of myself. If you're going 5 at the defense, it'd be really, really sweaty with the war. And I think that it will be fun with war because you will sit with friends who's playing and they will say VAR check for penalty, and everyone is gonna scream I have the penalty tick, and then it's no penalty.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, yesterday you had the triple Liverpool and the triple Man City in midfield?
Yeah, that's correct.
So you've changed your team, it's up on screen at the moment, and you've completely ripped up the notebook, you've thrown it out the window, and you've come up with a completely brand new team at the moment. The simple question is, number one, why?
I've been, you sit and talk to people here in Discord, and you have your own ideas, and then they come and maybe not that this is better, but more than shouldn't you think about, isn't this kind of more safe, and don't you want to do this, etc. So the whole Salah thing, I talked to like Notorious Nerd about it, and yeah, so I will have Salah, but I have been thinking my team if I want to have Sterling, because the double captaincy option. I don't want that. I want to like just have Salah. You know what I mean? But on the other hand, I don't want De Bruyne. So I want to have Sterling, but I think I don't want to captain him.
I mean, straight away, the triple Bournemouth attack. I mean, yesterday I had something kind of similar in having a triple Bournemouth attack, but people were screaming at me saying, nah, Josh King, he just doesn't seem to be having a particularly great pre-season. He's not really been playing that much. Does that not put you off, and maybe like me, having Jota in the team instead?
I think you were watching the earlier. I had posted one just like some moments ago with Wesley instead of King.
Oh wow! So you've posted up another team. So you're going with Wesley instead. Why Wesley then?
I have to have a 6.0 forward because the value there, and I have to upgrade the Zinchenko because I want to be safe. So yeah, I had King. I had King first and then Zinchenko, but I changed Zinchenko to Walker.
Yes,
and
I've
King
got it.
to Wesley. It's easier also if not having triple.
If they adapt or not, and you're not willing just to go with Jota, and
it's a risk, but the Fraser, and I don't want to downgrade like Van Dijk to something. So I think it's good to have a 6.0 Wesley. It's unproven, of course, but Jota he doesn't have a good fixture either, so I could just like wait with him, you know.
Again, this is the interesting thing about not only doing the live streaming, but also the fact that using the Discord, giving you new ideas. And I'm thinking, do I get Wesley into my team? A lot of people are like big advocates of Wesley. I mean, you're somebody that obviously uses the Discord group a lot. Can you just, like Boona did earlier on, just maybe give a few thoughts into why you're enjoying the Discord group so much?
Yeah, actually, yesterday night we were like sitting like 4 or 5 hours, like 6 people in the hangout, just talking about everything related, and yeah, I really enjoy this instead of like try to like discuss on Twitter. I mean, I don't have any like Swedish friends who playing fantasy football except my brother. So yeah, it's the only way to like discuss it.
Yeah,
and it's perfect.
You're another team that's got Lucas Moura in the team here. I mean, you confident that he's going to do okay with certainly in the Aston Villa game, because not many people are hoping for much versus Man City.
Yeah, I've been discussing with people if it's not better to have like someone else there and just skip the first game, but I mean, I think that was what you was talking about yesterday, that it's kind of better to have like have the players who's gonna play like good matches in the first 3 games, and then you can take like 2 free hit transfers, and then 1 -4 to change around. I mean, like downgrade Fraser and get like Sigurdsson or something, and I think it's better than like the template teams on Twitter where they're having like they have Tielemans, they have Sigurdsson, but if you look at the schedule, it's not like really easy matches for explosive results. So I think that I will have a Leicester midfielder or Wardy, but maybe later, and just focus on. That's why I was thinking about 3 Bournemouth, but it got more easier now when I downgraded King.
And one final question for you before we let you go. This Cabellos, tempted by the 5.5 price range, or was he just a wait and see?
I think Arsenal, except if someone wants to go with Aubameyang or Lacazette, I think they are wait and see. So, I mean, 5.5, it's a good price, but I wouldn't have him like the first week.
Excellent. FPL Defender, thank you so much for coming onto the show, and we'll probably see you tomorrow evening.
Yeah, thank you, bye.
Cheers, dude. Take it easy. There we are. FPL Defender there explaining his reasonings as to why he enjoys the, the Discord group, and how it's helping him with the decision. I've got to say, bringing up as a team again, Wesley. Your thoughts in chat on Wesley? I mean, I'll bring him up on screen again. Their fixtures after Tottenham, and also the fact that, we are all blinded by the opening fixture of the season, and Defender made even though it was my point that I made yesterday, Defender made a very, very interesting point about actually having to look at the opening, say, 3 to 4 fixtures rather than looking at the season as a whole, and mentioning people like Tielemans and Perez and their fixtures not exactly looking great, whereas someone like Wesley, albeit he needs to adapt to the Premier League, if he needs adaptation, of course. Come on. When you actually want to do something, everything crashes. Brilliant. Here we are, right. Aston Villa, Wesley, come on. Let's get you up here. So, yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on Wesley, everybody? He seems to be somebody that everybody's raving about. We've seen a couple of people with him on the bench to avoid Tottenham game. I mean, any Tottenham fans out there? I know FPL Boone is obviously a fan here. Are you confident that Tottenham you'll keep a clean sheet versus Aston Villa? I certainly am. I think it's going to be a 2 or a 3-0 win. I think personally that Lucas Moura and Kane could potentially get you a double-digit point-scoring haul. But look at this is Wesley at the moment up on screen. Barring Tottenham away, you've got a wonderful, wonderful set of 9 game weeks, barring Arsenal away. But Arsenal can be bullied. We all know what Drogba used to do. Admittedly, Drogba played for Chelsea, I'm fully aware of that, but Wesley's supposed to be a big, big player and could bully Arsenal. We all know that Arsenal don't like to play against players like this, and we all know, again, Arsenal's defensive issues. But yeah, Bournemouth, Everton, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Burnley, Norwich, Brighton certainly got me thinking, and certainly the Jota comment made by Defender there that Wolves' fixtures aren't great. And Ryan asked me, actually, I'm going to make this point again. Ryan made this point about, do I think that Wolves will get affected by the Europa League like Burnley did? I don't want to keep saying this, but I will do for any new listeners. I think that the two comparisons is ludicrous. Wolves' squad is a lot more better than Burnley's. At least the Wolves manager won't be swapping and changing his team. He will stick to the proper 11, whereas Sean Dyche, when it comes to cup competitions, he doesn't play a full strength 11. He'll drop 3 or 4, maybe up to 5 players in any cup competition. In fact, when it comes to like the FA Cup and the whatever it's called, the Carling Cup, Carabao Cup, oh god, you're talking like 11 changes. He couldn't give us stuff about cup competitions. And yeah, last year was just terrible for us. I am aware that the Europa League does seem to have an effect on even the bigger teams. But that's when the season kicks in, when it actually plays properly. I think that, for me, if Wolves treat these games seriously, I mean, they have to play, am I right in saying 3 qualifying games before they get into the actual main competition, or is it 2? We had to play 3. We played, who was it, some nobody team. Then it was Aberdeen, and then it was Olympiacos, and then we were knocked out by Olympiacos, and that was the game before the main group stage itself. So I'm assuming Wolves is exactly the same. So, yeah, I don't think you can compare the two. But what I will say is next season, if they do get into the game properly, the competition properly, then maybe Wolves are a team to avoid. Who knows? But until the season kicks on, we never know. But I'm liking this Wesley talk, and in fact I know somebody who's a big advocate of Wesley, and I'm going to bring him up live on air now, is Statman, or Kevin. So Kevin, we're going to be bringing you live on air now. Kevin, you're live on Elite FPL Radio. Good morning.
Hey Steve-O, how's it going?
Good morning. Just like Defender, it's 2 days in a row now you've been joining us live. We've been discussing Wesley recently. You're a big advocate of Wesley. Do you want to tell the audience why you're such a big advocate of Wesley? And what are your thoughts on the fact that someone like yourself says that he's a big, strong beast of a striker, so to speak, and up against Arsenal, actually, he may be able to have some fun?
Yeah. You just need to go and look at his. All we can do is look at his highlight reel and what's out there on YouTube and stuff. And I watched his highlights against. I'm not sure if it was Walsall or something like that, and he scored a goal. And I think he scored a penalty as well. But that goal, the open play goal, was exactly like goals from last season. You know, like a lovely one-touch finish in the box. But yeah, he's a big boy, 6'4", 95 kilo. He's not a slouch. He's got a bit of pace, and I've got to take a bit of credit for starting this, I'm sure, in the Discord chat, because when I first said it, everyone was it's Villa. I said look at the fixtures before you even look at his highlights. Just look at that sea of green, and then look at his highlights, and then tell us what. It's good to see people have obviously had a look themselves, and his ownership's creeping up there, because I think he will be that steal at 6 million. I really do, Steve-O.
Yeah, I mean, you've just brought up. I've been asking regular users of the Discord group and why they enjoy the Discord group, basically. But please just tell the audience your thoughts on the Discord group and why it seems to be helping your decision making. I mean, certainly the information you're giving our community regarding Wesley, it's certainly turning my head.
Yeah, just today, it would have been about 10 p.m. UK time, about 9 a.m. here. I just put the daughter down for a sleep, and I checked the waiting room, and Boona and Defender and a few people were in there, so I got to jump in there and have a half an hour, 45-minute chat with them lads. Boona and Defender, I'm sure it was, had to leave, and I was left with another fella. I can't remember his name, but he's from Bristol, and we had a good chat, and he informed us on loads of stuff about Ceballos or Cabellos, which I didn't know. So he gave me loads of information, which I like to hear from the person. Do you know what I mean? Someone that's, I'm not sure if he's got a bit of an interest in Arsenal or if he's just a big FPL head, but that was good. It was good to just chat to him for 15-20 minutes, and yeah, it's a cool community. There's always someone in there for a chat, and you know, if you're watching content on YouTube, you're pretty interested in FPL, so why not have a bit of a banter with other like-minded people there?
Well, you just mentioned Ceballos, and one of the topics that we're covering today is this Ceballos coming in at 5.5. I've got your team up on screen at the moment, and based on this conversation from the individual from Bristol, and if they are watching this live, let us know who you are. But you have gone and taken the bait. You've put Ceballos on the team, but more interestingly, there's a name which is gleaming out here. It's Mane. Kevin, tell us number one about why you are going with this Ceballos, and if there is any information people want to listen out for regarding why you were choosing, thanks to this individual from Bristol, and then on to the Mane pick.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if you could remember, but I've basically I've downgraded Mora price-wise to Ceballos, which was a bit of an awkward one for me, because I only wanted him for game week 1 for the home game against Villa. I didn't want to play him against City. I didn't want to hold on to Mora going into game week 3 when Son comes back. So I kind of took that problem away by going down to Stavelos, which freed up a couple of million. I stole $1 million from going from Salah to Mane, and that allowed me to go up from Sane to Sterling. So basically, I don't need to do the hokey cokey in midfield around Sane and Mora. And from what I've looked at on YouTube again about Stavelos, he looks pretty good. He looks like a true Arsenal type player, doesn't he? He's tricky, he's skillful, he plays a pass around. People are saying he hasn't got a record of scoring too many goals or getting end product as in assists and stuff, but where else can we get a more attacking player in a top 6 team? I know Kante and Jorginho and who else is about around that 5-6 million. There's not many. So to me, it was just an absolute lifesaver, and it's freed me up for any planned transfers in the first few weeks, Steve.
Yeah, another talking point that we've been discussing here is the effect of VAR. Not necessarily, well, obviously it links you into the real life football, but also is it having an effect of late on your fantasy football player decision making?
Personally, not too much. It would only see I'm watching Zaha like a lot of people. I haven't got any Everton cover in midfield. I have had in other drafts, but the only player that screams out to me that will benefit from that is Zaha and whoever's in his team that takes pens. So for me, but saying that, I'm not really basing that on much. Like, do we know if it's had an effect of more penalties or less penalties in the trial runs? Do we have any data for that, or?
Well, the only thing, I mean, I don't know the exact stats off the top of my head, but basically it turns out that when it happened in Spain and Syria, and it really had no effect. If anything, it had a digress in the amount of penalties being taken.
Oh, really? Right, well, that's surprising, because everyone's automatically jumping to the conclusion that everyone's going to get a pen a game.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, if I'm honest, I think what will happen is in game weeks 1 to 6 at a push, maybe game week 7, we may see a load of real mess ups, basically. Not mess ups, but real dilemmas that happen with us and game changes regarding VAR. I honestly do think that there will be some goals not given, and I think there will be some penalties obviously given due to VAR and everything. I think once we get past the initial opening stages of the Premier League, I think that it will all just settle down and just become normal, to be honest with you. I think if anything, we'll probably end up seeing more like petty yellow cards and stuff. I don't think it's going to have that much of an effect regarding the amount of goals scored, to be honest with you. All taken away, in fact.
Okay. Do you know how they're going to do it? Do you know if it's because I've got friends that watch? I live in New Zealand, obviously, and it's big in cricket and it's big in rugby and stuff. So, do you know if our referee's going to run to the side of the pitch type of thing and watch a screen, or if it's going to be beamed to him in his earpiece from 3 or 4 fellas up in the roof watching it? Like, how's it going to work?
So basically, funny enough, I read an article on Football 365 yesterday about how VAR works. So the people that operate VAR, they held a media day out for basically all members of the media to check out how VAR works. And basically somewhere in God knows where, they'll have 3 individual referees monitoring screens per match. So you'll have on average about 4, 5, 6 games at 3 p.m. on a Saturday. So you're talking 18 odd people, referees, in one little room watching individual matches. And simply put, you'll have, what did I read? Basically, one person's watching the game completely live, along with the referee,
Yeah.
you'll have somebody that's, this is mad, that's going, I'm probably butchering this to death, going back to incidences without the referee knowing. So a very, very simple example would be, you know, the game's in play, and the second referee that's watching the VAR that's going back notices something which is, I don't know, like a pull on a shirt or whatever.
Off
And
the ball. Yeah,
off the ball, yes. And my understanding is that when the game comes to a stop, that individual will go to another referee that's sat next to them and say, do you think we should give this information to the actual referee playing the game? And then if they feel that the off-the-ball incident is worth bringing up to the actual referee, then that's what will happen. But I'm probably completely wrong, but that's my basic understanding of it. But the reality is that it will be exactly as you explained. At the end of the day, it will be, you know, an off-the-ball incident or something that actually happens within the game where all the players decide to flag the referee or whatever, and the referee will just simply say, right, well, I'll just go to VAR then. In my opinion, we need to go to VAR, and he'll just run off to the side and everything. But it's like, my basic understanding is when they've done trials of this in the FA Cup and various other competitions, maybe the Champions League and the Europa League, that the fans that are actually at the game don't have a clue what's going on. And that's what they want to, because obviously in the cricket, you actually basically see or hear what's going on, whereas what's happening in the football, no one has a clue, and you just sat around wondering, and then all of a sudden the referee comes out and points to whatever's happening. So, like I said, I think what will happen is in the first 4 to 6 game weeks, we're going to have absolute pandemonium, and then it will all just even itself out, to be honest with you. So maybe.
So do we think that because in an FPL sense, it's all penalty based really, if not like a direct free kick right on the edge of the box, but you know what it's like, a lot of these tackles that are given or aren't given, it's down to perspective. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's down to, like, I can look at a tackle, like I play football, I was a centre back or right back, I might be sitting next to my mate who was a winger, so like it's like, you know what I mean, people look at everything differently. I say, nah, he got the ball first. How do you think it'll work in the penalty cases? Do you think we're going to get, if it's a pen and we all see it's a pen in the replays and the referee got it wrong, obviously you'd expect that to be rectified, but do you think there's going to be a lot of 50-50s that go wrong even with the replays?
Yes.
Like,
well, like I said, you've got 3 different individuals back at whatever base looking at the whole thing. The referee's going to walk to the side for what's going to seem like an eternity to everybody, reviewing and going over exactly his potential own mistake. And I think what will happen is that we're going to get, after the first few games, I think we're going to get less shirt pulling. I think that the shirt pulling to start with may be quite high or just at the normal level, but then once people realise, wait a minute, I can't be doing this. I'm sure there was a case about this in something. I think it may have been in Italy or something. I can't remember now. But they said that with VAR in use, that actually the number of instances regarding shirt pulling went down. So I think it's actually going to have a really positive effect on how football is going to be played in the next 10 years.
Yeah, it's a good thing, really.
Yeah.
It's good. It sounds like it's going to act as a deterrent. Do you know what I'm like? If you're a dirty player off the ball and the little tricks and things that all players get up to, if you now know you can get pinged for that at any point, if it eradicates that type of stuff, yeah, I'm all for it. I just hope it doesn't slow down the game. That's my only thing. My mates here that watch a lot of rugby think nothing of the referee going to the side, taking 5 minutes out of shows like this, but more importantly, just not slowing it down, because you know what it's like in rugby and American sports. They just flick the music on in the stadiums, don't they? They just flick a song on, and I don't want that creeping into football.
Yeah, when I was funny, you just reminded me when I was watching the Copa America, and it was Vidal that thought he scored for Chile, and even me watching, I was like, I couldn't care less about the actual game itself, but just as a football fan, you kind of like want to see the person that's losing. You want to see if they can get back into the game and everything, especially if you've got no allegiance to anybody. And Vidal had scored to make it, what was it, 1-1 or 2-1, I can't remember now. And we all thought it was a perfectly legitimate goal and everything, and we were just like, brilliant, Vidal scored. And then all of a sudden it went to VAR because the opposition were complaining obviously about the fact that they felt that the ball came off a hand or something. And after about what seemed like what you said, half an hour, I mean, it was only like 5 minutes, eventually the referee went, nope, it was a handball. And that goal, in fact, they had 2 incidences in that Chile game, and I think Sanchez had a goal ruled off as well due to some incidents, and thanks to VAR. So, like I said, there'll be times during this season where, there were I can't think off the top of my head right now, but there were instances. Actually, I can. Jason always keeps alerting to me the Aguero goal, which shouldn't have stood in the Watford match where Sterling got a hat-trick. And Aguero's goal shouldn't have stood or something because of a handling of somewhere. That's just one simple example of where someone like me, who captained Aguero at the time, would just be in disarray at the fact that brilliant. But these are the rules at the end of the day. This is the game we're playing, and I think that what's probably going to be more frustrating for us fantasy players is the fact that your captain scores a goal and then it gets ruled off for offside. I mean, I think the worst time I've seen VAR used was probably in that Champions League semi-final with Man City and Tottenham. I mean, that was just absolutely ridiculous. How, obviously Man City fans went into absolute pandemonium when Sterling scored, and then God knows how long left, minutes later, it was, sorry mate, you're offside, or whatever the circumstances were. So could you imagine that next season? It's going to be amazing. Yeah,
it's going to add a new element to the game, and like you say, it's all just about adapting, isn't it? All sports are changing with time. I just hope that they keep the integrity of the sport that we all love as it is, and just try and improve it. And
I think, like you said, I think in years to come, you've got to start it at some point. You've got to start at some point. I think in years to come, we're going to think that VAR was one of the best inventions for football. But until then, before we let you go, I'm just looking at your team right now, and I'm a fan of it. I think you've put a lot of thought and planning into this. I like the Wesley pick. I like the Target pick as well for when they have some decent fixtures. And again, this is what I like about chatting with you guys live on air, and also the Discord group as well, is that we have these brand new ideas. And I think to myself, do you know what? I think I may go for Wesley instead of Jota and put that 0.5 somewhere else. But looking at your team now, and I know I always ask you this question, but what is the likelihood of the majority of this team staying the same by, game week 1 basically?
Well, I've just been telling a few of the lads I've been talking to, my friends that play, that this should be it really, bar an injury or a surprise signing, because it was really, I think Klopp's came out and said that Marnie is going to be fit for game week 1.
Right, okay.
That he's back 5 or 6 days before the first game, in training, booked in. So I needed to steal a mil here and a half a mil there to get. I know that you appreciated the Sane pick last time I was talking to you, and I did. But like you say, people are starting not to set seeds of doubt, but the talking the truth. Like that he's not 100% nailed, and it just made us think I need Sterling. I need Sterling over Sane. So if Mane's going to be back, and I had a quick flick through the opening 4 or 5 games of last season, and from what I could see, it seemed like Mane and Salah were going tit for tat. I think one game Salah would score, one game Mane would score. So that is pretty much my team, to be honest.
Interesting as well is that last season, did I start the season with 2? I can't remember if I started the season with 2 Liverpool attackers or 1. I think it may have been both Salah and Mane. But
Yeah.
I know that Mane always starts off, like you just said, like hell for leather and just goes for it. And I always remember Mane starting off well. And I remember last season I actually captained Mane ahead of Salah because I knew how well Mane performed. Like, it actually paid off for me. Maybe that's a thought process for yourself, that actually, you know what, Mane starts off really, really well, and actually he'll probably cover Salah's points anyway.
Well, that's it. It's basically Mane and Sane, or God, that's a bit of a riddle. Mane, especially when you've had 4 or 5 beers, Steve. Mane and Sane versus Sterling and Salah. No. Sterling and Mane, or Sane and Salah, and I just think that Mane and Salah will be tight in the first 8 games where they're expected to pick up a lot of points. I think both of them could do well. And it's just a doubt over Sane. So yeah, man, and it was the bro who was on that brought up Ceballos, you know, things like that I'm picking up from this channel, and the Discord have helped me. So I advise everyone to get in there. It might not be that, but it might be something else that you pick up on that could be that one little bit of information that you're looking for to tweak your team to what you think is going to be your starting 11. So yeah, I'm quite happy looking at.
And with that, I can only thank you for joining us, Statman Kevin. Thank you so much.
No worries, Steve. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, dude. There we are, Statman, the massive advocate of the Discord group, telling you guys basically that the information that we're giving you, well, certainly the guys in the Discord group, well, it's vital really in your decision making. You know, this individual from Bristol, whoever that was, you know, telling basically Kevin, you know, this is what I think of him, this is what I think he's going to bring to Arsenal, and now Kevin's completely, you know, ripped up his team and just started again really. And I really like the thought process there. Final call of the morning. Stein, a regular viewer and listener, a contributor to the Elite FPL podcast. We're going to bring you live on air. If you please make sure that you unmute your microphone, and we'll get you on in a few minutes time. So Stein, will get you on in a few minutes. There's a lot of people regarding talking about rate my teams there. I'm going to be honest with you, you're not going to like this answer here, but I personally only want to do rate my teams if you're wanting to come live on air. I just think it's better hearing from you guys telling me why you've gone through specific choices, rather than me just basically going, yep, I like it, yeah, there's nothing I can add. I'm not being rude, I'm not being disrespectful, it's just a simple fact that there's nothing I can really add to the conversation. But when you get live on the Discord, like you've heard from a lot of people that have joined me today, it's been really interesting conversation. I mean, the Kevin there alone talking about his thought process into choosing Wesley is a very simple example. People like myself are thinking, you know what, he's on to something there. I really, really think that this Wesley now could be this person, this striker, which could save me that 0.5. In this case, maybe getting rid of Jota and bringing in Wesley as an example. But Stein, he's unmuted his microphone, and we are going to get him live on air right now. So, Stein, you are live on Elite FPL Calling. You are going to be the last caller of the day, so let's make it special, let's make it count. How are you, my friend?
I'm very good, thank you, Steve. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Did you enjoy the conversation, if you heard any of it, regarding VAR and how it will affect the Premier League / certainly our fantasy football thoughts this upcoming season?
Certainly, that was my uppermost thought when I picked the team. Hence the reason why when I listened to I think the first live calling stream that he did, when I listened to that, it was the Salah debate, that made me realise actually I can't go without Salah because he is a penalty taker. Also, I stuck with Kane, and I drafted Pogba into my team, even though I upgraded Sigurdsson, I should say. So no, Martial. Sorry, I had Martial and I upgraded to Pogba. So yeah.
Do you agree with me that, well, and along with Kevin, that game weeks 1 to 6, you're going to have a lot of random penalties being taken, lots of calls being made regarding shirt pulling and everything, and a lot of basically penalties being given and maybe goals being disallowed or even allowed? Do you think that the first 6 game weeks is going to be a bit of a cluster beep, or do you think that it is just going to be perfect from the start?
It's a funny one, Steve, because my belief is that in certain times, certainly in big games, you may have poor refereeing decisions. Now, my understanding of VAR is that they're going to be using it generally in the penalty area or around about that for big decisions that could lead to a goal or that may have led to a goal, like your offsides and stuff like that. Certainly, that's what I've been noticing. Certainly in the female World Cup. So my guess is the poorer the referee, the more penalties they're going to be. So it's a 50-50. You never know when you're going to get a poor referee, but the likelihood is if you do get one, you're certainly going to get penalties.
So the game has added this Ceballos to the Arsenal team. He is 5.5. Is he a tempting option for you?
He is, but here's the funny thing. I picked my final draft, and I've been twiddling my thumbs, wondering what to do. So I've actually picked a 17, and I'm thinking of bringing in Maitland-Niles or Zuma, because Zuma's going to have to play because Chelsea don't have much experience at the back, and considering Zuma's played a couple of seasons in the Premier, I think he's going to be certainly the first choice centre back with Rudiger being out. Certainly Rudiger's not going to make the first game. So whoever he plays, let's say alongside David Luiz, my guess is going to be someone with Premiership experience. That brings Zuma in with a great shout. So that's a Chelsea player. And in terms of Arsenal, with Konchesky, is it Konchesky? I can never say his name correctly. Koscielny, there you go. With him, definitely not going to start the first game because there's going to be some sort of punishment for him, even if he's at the club or not. He's not going to start the first game, which really starts to bring into shout Maitland-Niles, Rob Holding, and Callum Chambers, because it looks like they want to spend their money on a forward, which means one of these guys are going to start. So again, they could be interesting people.
We had a question earlier on, or a topic point brought up about the effect of the Europa League on Wolves. Do you feel like me that it's not going to have such a negative effect like it did on Burnley, or do you think no? I think that with Wolves not such great fixtures, and I'll bring up on screen in a second what they are, that it's not actually going to be an issue for Wolves at all, and you think that they're just going to plod along like they did last season?
Well, I think you're absolutely right, Steve. I think it's not going to have a great effect on Wolves because if you actually look at their squad, they're international players. So in terms of playing in European competitions, they've been there, done it, seen it. So I don't see it having a negative effect on them. It may lead to a couple of odd results, but I'm not sure it's going to really have a negative effect on their season. If anything, it may give them a more of a positive. They've got quite a young team, and if they're getting results in Europe, I'm convinced they can take that form into the Premiership.
We've had a lot of talk today about this new Aston Villa signing in striker in Wesley, and thanks to the Discord group and certainly big advocates like Kevin just now that we had on the show, he's a huge fan of this Wesley. I've been seeing a few teams today with this Wesley in. My head's certainly been turned. I'm going to add him to my team right now. But what are your thoughts on Wesley? Or do you think that he's a new striker for a promoted team? Avoid like the plague, because that's one of the big tips from the so-called fantasy football experts, that just avoid promoted teams like the plague. Or do you think he doesn't count because he's just brand new to the Premier League, full stop?
No, I definitely think Wesley and Haller are going to be great picks this season. What time to get on them? Toss a coin. It could be right at the beginning. It could be when they have a good run. They could be the star of a show in a big. But certainly, I can see them doing well this season without a shadow of a doubt.
Haller's an interesting one. I'm sure it was FPL Boone that said that he believes that Real Madrid got the wrong striker. I mean, is it Jovovic or something like that? I don't know who it is, but he believes that Real Madrid should have actually gone with Haller. Instead, he's come to West Ham. He's 7.5 million. You think that actually he could be a good option once West Ham's fit? I mean, again, a bit like with Wesley, West Ham open up with a horrific fixture in Man City at home, but then they've got some lovely opening 4 fixtures after that in a Brighton away, Watford away, Norwich at home and Aston Villa away. I think that maybe, like you just mentioned, Haller could be that potential striker bargain.
Certainly, Steve, because they have a really good all-round game which suits the Premiership. They have a first touch. They're they're goal scorers. So when they're in the box, they take chances. Jovetic, I think it's. Did you say it's Jovetic, the one that went to Real Madrid?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
He's a poacher. That is what he is. He's an old school poacher. So if Real Madrid can get the ball into the box, he will score goals. That's no two ways about it. However, Haller and Wesley are very all-round players. They tend to be they tend to work all of the pitch in the last third, so they're more noticeable on the eye. However, that's good because it's very quick, and if these guys can move around that amount they can create havoc in the back in someone's back four.
We did have, I don't know if he's back. No, yes he is. Are you willing just to stay around just for one rate my team, Stein?
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Brilliant. Cool. We've got Yash Wardhan Jan in the waiting room. We're going to bring him live on air. Please make sure that the stream is turned off or the sound muted at least, and we will rate your team along with guest host, so to speak, in Stein. So Yash, welcome to the Elite FPL call-in. Hello Yash, you are live on Elite FPL call-in. You've been asking me to rate your team. I've only said that I'll only rate it if you're willing to come on air. You are now live on air. He's gone away. We'll bring him back in one more time. Is he shy? Is he not? Yash, you are live on Elite FPL radio. I can hear some noise. Are you there? No, he's not willing to come on. I'll just quickly bring it up on screen. I'm not really willing to discuss it per se, but what I will say is it's Jovic, just to correct us both. Stein is of Frankfurt that has moved to Real Madrid. So I've just brought up Yash's team here. I'll just ask you instantly, Stein, your thoughts on a punt on Origi for game week 1 and maybe game week 2.
Origi's a funny one because I think Origi's actually going to lose his position. There is a spot up, and I can see why people are thinking of Origi. But my personal belief is that he's actually going to either lose that spot to Chamberlain or Milner, because I don't believe Liverpool will play the same formation. Now that's just me with a punt, so I could be way off the mark. But I'm not convinced Origi is going to start. He may well come on in that game, and they may switch back to that 3 up front and go back to their old way of playing. But my guess is against Norwich, I think he's going to use Chamberlain or Milner.
Excellent thought processes. And just actually one quick final one. I mean, I've actually personally thinking of going with Lucas Moura, But your thoughts on Lucas Moura's just pretty much a 1 week punt versus Aston Villa, because as we all know, he'll probably end up losing his spot to Son.
That is true. That is true. But you know what? Here's the dilemma. We all Lucas Moura is in most people's teams because we all know he's explosive. Yeah. However, if he bangs in 2 goals and 2 assists, does Son walk back into the team next game? It's a big question for me, because he dropped. Let's look at the last thing that happened to him. He dropped Lucas Moura and he lost the final. Yeah. We all said that was a mistake as fans of football. Not even Tottenham fans thought that was a mistake, including myself, and I'm a Man U fan. Is he going to do that again if Moura bangs? I'm not so convinced he will.
Interesting thoughts there. Stein, thank you for joining us.
Yep, you're welcome, Stevie. Anytime. I mean, if you're going to be live on Saturday morning, Steve, I'm always going to be there at some point, that's for sure.
Cheers, dude. There's Stein there with his thoughts on VAR, Origi just then, and of course this Ceballos. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end it there. We did have Yash in the waiting room. He unfortunately left and he's now completely gone. So I think I'm going to end the stream there. It's been going on for quite a while. I think this stream has been a lot better than I thought it was. Not what I thought it was going to be. These streams are going along really, really well. I think they're the content that you guys are basically bringing me is brilliant. I'm just a host. I'm just listening to what you have to say. I am more than happy just to listen and speak with you guys. In fact, you know what? Let's just continue this stream for a bit longer, shall we? And let's annoy maybe some... right, so Yash is just saying that the thing is not connecting. That's a shame. We've just gone over your team, Yash. You probably heard some of Stein's thoughts regarding your Origi pick there, and certainly I made the point about Lucas Moura. But no, I'm going to do a deliberate thing now, which is going to annoy some people here. You shouldn't be picking this player, you shouldn't be picking that player. Like I said, you're my rivals. You should be happy that I'm picking players that I shouldn't be picking. So, this is, barring Wesley, this is the FPL community template team. And I think I'm going to go and choose an actual real team, which I feel relatively confident with game week 1. Straight away, I'm based on the conversation that I've had today and various other people have had him in the team. I'm sticking with Wesley. I think that this is a really, really good opportunity to jump onto a £6 million forward with the attributes that he seems to have shown in his previous seasons, and I think that I'm willing to, at the moment, stick with Wesley. I'm going to get rid of King. I'm getting rid of Sigurdsson. I'm getting rid of Coleman. Not interested in them whatsoever. The question is, do I stick with double Liverpool defence? That is the big question. Do I stick with a 4-4-2, a 3-5-2? No, I'm going to go with a 3-5-2 formation. The question is, do I get rid of Trent or Van Dijk? Well, my thought process off the top of my head is to save that 0.5 is to get rid of Trent. But I like Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think his attacking threat cannot be denied, and I'm going to go with Van Dijk. Someone made a point the other day about Ryan, which was simply put that he just doesn't get the save points. And I mentioned this, one of my biggest things about Ryan last year was the fact that he was not getting me save points either. But for now, I'm happy just to stick with him. I think, though, I'm going to end up going with... My original plan was going with Fabianski. But I'm going to stick with Ryan for now. If Burnley / Sean Dyche confirm Fraser are almost must-haves based on the opening fixtures of the season. I mean, let's be honest here. You cannot deny that Bournemouth do seem to like playing the quote-unquote weaker teams, and with their opening fixtures of Sheffield United at home and then Aston Villa away, you cannot question that whatsoever. I think they're a really good couple of picks there. Certainly Fraser. I think Fraser is an excellent pick, if I'm honest with you. And the question is, midfield-wise, do I want to punt on Lucas Moura for that game week 1 fixture? The simple answer is, right now, right as it stands, the simple answer is, yeah. I think FPL Boona has convinced me that, and the fact that he's had a really good pre-season as well tells me that he's full of confidence, and Kane isn't really looking at it according to FPL Boona. Again, this is one of the wonderful things, not only just doing the live stream, but the information that you guys are getting from this Discord group. Again, the link is in the description. I'm sure somebody can post the link in the chat just for you guys to join in and maybe have some fun with playing around with what to do and everything. We do have a great community. There are people willing to help you to get around and stuff. It's pretty easy once you get to know how to use the Discord group. We've already had some testimonials about why the Discord group is good and what the benefits are of using it. So yeah, this 352. Do you know what? I'm wanting that one playing defender from a team which, just in case, I do need to have a playing substitute, and I think I'm going to go with... I can't even think some decent... I always go with Burnley just for the sake of it. But yeah, let's just put in... well, Charlie Taylor at the moment is injured, so I'm going to go with Eric Peters. Very experienced Premier League player. Did very, very well for me in in this game specifically, for when he played with Stoke. Used to getting the assists quite on a regular basis. I think I want to go with a premium option in, what do you call it, in defence. I've got 12.5 to play with. The popular picks are someone like Leicester, but as we heard live earlier on, you know, we're talking they haven't exactly got the greatest fixtures, but you know, I think that they've got quality players in Tielemans, Maddison, Perez, but I'll go with Tielemans because I'm just a big advocate of his, which leaves us with 6 million in defence. And the question is, who can I get for 6 million? I don't have a... This is why I liked the... So what I'm going to do, actually, tell you what I'm going to do to annoy everybody. I'm going to get rid of Taylor. I'm going to bring in Ben Gibson of Burnley, because right now he seems to be doing really well in the pre-season. He's our joint record signing along with Chris Wood. Didn't seem to perform that well for us whenever he did play for us. Played in that 5-1 defeat to Everton as well. Ironically, he was the one player that scored. And then what I'm going to do is, for 6.5, I'm going to deliberately bring in Man City's Laporte. It's kind of similar to what I had originally, isn't it? Really, I'm not going to pretend. Basically, I've just got rid of Jota for Wesley, in simple terms. But yeah, I'll just quickly make the transfers there. Happy days. I'm sure people are screaming at the computer here. Why have you done this? Why have you done that? Like I said, at the end of the day, you are my rivals. But yeah, which reminds me, talking of rivalries and everything, here's the admin. Like I said, I think this stream is coming to a bit of an end now. I'll do a bit of admin and regarding our cash mini league for next season. So next season, myself, Dan and Jason, well, Jason specifically, has set up a cash mini league. All details are in the Discord group. The only way, in fact, we've had a few people on the YouTube comment section asking, how do we join the cash mini league? Basically, go to our Discord. You've got to be a member of the Discord group basically to join into the cash mini league, and you just need to sign up on obviously the menu pay part of it, and then it's a very, very simple process, and then everything gets processed through that. That's done through Jason, my other co-host. Yeah, other than that, so that's the Cash Mini League. If you want to follow us on Twitter or Instagram, I'll be honest with you, we are a hell of a lot more active on Twitter. Well, basically I am. So over on Twitter. That's at Elite FPL. It's the same for Instagram, at Elite FPL. As ever, thank you to Boona, by the way, for asking this thing as well. If you're watching this right now and you've enjoyed the stream, just simply hit that like button, just to show your support and just to say thank you, really, for doing this. If you are, again, brand new to the show and you haven't subscribed and you want to know when we're going live, really, hit that subscribe button, but more importantly, hit that notification button, because instantly it will tell you that we are going live. And like I said, these daily shows that I'm doing at the moment are happening spontaneously, so to speak. I do advertise, give or take, when we are going live, usually in the Discord group first, and then when I've officially announced it, I go on Twitter. But of course, if you're not part of any of those two, then hitting that notification button on the channel when you've subscribed means that you will know when I am going live at a random time during the day. But at the moment, it seems to be a bit set at the moment at 8 o'clock in the morning call-ins, and I've been, if I'm honest with you, I've actually really enjoyed the format at the moment. May have to speak to Jason about that. Thankfully, it didn't affect this stream. So yeah, it's usually the three of us, and next season there will be an official schedule. So not necessarily official, but there will definitely be a schedule in which the three of us will stick to. Usually it is on a Sunday, a Monday/Tuesday, and then a Thursday/Friday. But as I keep staying with this whole new setup and stuff, the fact that I've got a laptop now, as I keep banging on about, I'm more flexible than the other two. I'm way more flexible, as you can probably tell. I've got no commitments, basically, other than week 1. I may be able to do a live stream either after the game or just before, doing rate my teams and everything. But I think I'm going to end it there because everything seems to be crashed around me. Thanks for joining me live, and yeah, we will see you I will, and maybe Jason, maybe Dan, who knows, tomorrow at some point, and we will obviously get you, we will let you know ASAP about what's going on tomorrow. Cheers guys, and have a good day.